I would like to advise all those present that notice of this regular meeting of April 15, 2026 has been provided to the public in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meeting Act of the State of New Jersey. Notice of time and place of this meeting has been included in the annual notice of meetings, which was posted and filed with the city clerk and with the Bergen Record and Asbury Press. An additional notice of time and place was posted and filed with the city clerk and was forwarded to the Bergen Record and Star Ledger on April 10, 2026. The regular meeting of the Municipal Council of the City of Bayonne is now in session. Ms. Medina, please call the roll.
Mr. Booker?
Here.
Mr. Carroll?
Here.
Mr. Perez?
Here.
Ms. Weimer?
Here.
Mr. La Palusa?
Here. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our first item is an ordinance up for public hearing, but is being postponed to May 13th. It is an ordinance of the City of Bayonne, County of Hudson, New Jersey, adopting the redevelopment plan for the property located at 301 and 300-302 Constitution Avenue, which is identified as Block 803, Lot 1, and Block 815, Lot 1, as shown on the official tax map of the City of Bayonne, pursuant to the local redevelopment and housing law. It's moved by the Council President. Mr. Booker, will you second?
Second.
And on postponement, Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
02 is an ordinance of the City of Bayonne approving the amendment easement to the QOZ Prospect Property Urban Renewal LLC regarding the location of the force main located underground at 33 Prospect Avenue, which is designated Block 455, Lot 1.01, as shown on the official tax map. It was introduced and passed the first reading at the meeting held March 18th, was published in the Bergen Record and posted on the bulletin boards required by law, with notice that it will be further considered for final passage following a public hearing at this meeting of April 15th. Is now before the council for its consideration and a public hearing. And a resolution giving the ordinance second reading is moved by the council president. Mr. Perez, will you second?
Second.
On the resolution, Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
Second reading is by title, an ordinance of the City of Bayonne approving an amended easement to QOZ Prospect Property Urban Renewal LLC regarding the location of the force main located underground at 33 Prospect Avenue, which is identified as Block 455, Lot 1.01. The council is now ready to give all persons interested in this ordinance an opportunity to be heard concerning it. The council president will recognize anyone who wishes to speak. No protest against, objections to, or statements in favor of this ordinance or its passage has been filed with me. May I have a motion to close?
Move it. Second.
And on the motion to close, Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll. Aye. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
And a resolution ordering final passage.
Move.
Second.
I'm sorry, can you please give us more details about what it is, because I don't know what this property is, and I don't know what it is about, and I don't know what, if you guys know what you're talking about, but for us, we don't know what you guys are talking about. And
Okay,
we
can you,
really don't understand.
if you have a question, can you come to the microphone?
I think everybody hears me, everybody hears me? Okay, so,
All right,
I'm good. Thank you.
okay. This is an easement, okay, it's for a property that, the easement, the force main is on the property that's listed here on Prospect Avenue, okay? It allows the city to be able to get in and do work if they need it as well. So,
What kind of property is that? Why does it go as?
all right, Mr. Skellender, you want to explain a little bit more?
So for this property here in the force main here, this is for our force main that connects to Passaic Valley. When this was built back in the 1980s, the city had an easement for the property, and the city did not build within its current easement. Now that the building has been knocked down and it's up for redevelopment, as part of their resolution compliance issue, they have to grant an easement so that if the city does have to get in and access the force main, it will be, we will have the proper rights to be on the property, and also for the city's asset to be on the property in the proper zone. So that's what this ordinance is allowing for.
On the resolution for final passage, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll. Aye. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Aye. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
03 is an ordinance of the City of Bayonne amending and supplementing the revised general ordinances, Chapter 7, Traffic. It was introduced and passed the first reading at the meeting held March 18th, was published in the Bergen Record and posted on the bulletin boards required by law, with notice that it would be further considered for final passage following a public hearing at this meeting of April 15th. It is now before the council for its consideration and a public hearing. And a resolution moved by Councilmember Booker, giving the ordinance second reading. Mr. Perez, will you second?
Second.
On the resolution, Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll. Aye. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Aye. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
Second reading is by title, an ordinance of the City of Bayonne amending and supplementing the revised general ordinances, Chapter 7, Traffic. The council is now ready to give all persons interested in this ordinance an opportunity to be heard concerning it. The council president will recognize anyone who wishes to speak.
Okay, so, what's that? Yeah, so if you want to ask a question, you have to come up to the microphone and state your name and address. And that's the standard that we do all the time in our meetings. So, yes, please, if you could.
Before I go with my name and address, I would like to ask for all of your names and addresses for the fairness, right?
Sure.
For the fair point, right? So like, I'm ready, so who starts first?
That's not the protocol here, just so you know, and our addresses are
Sir,
public record.
City of Bayonne is a corporation. It's not a government. It's a corporation, for-profit corporation. And I have a question. What power and how do you get the power to tell us anything at all? Where do you get that power from? How do you derive that power from? You're not a government.
We're not a government?
You know you're not a government. You're a corporation. You're a for-profit corporation. As a matter of fact, you've taken $280 million from we the people. So this is for profit, and I don't see anything that would show for $280 million. So how do you get the power to tell us, or like, pass your ordinances or statutes? Where do you get that power from? I know where you get it from, but I would like to hear it from you.
The state.
State is also corporation. State of New Jersey is a corporation. I understand. I have a question. I have a question, and protocol allows me for the question. And my question, as an interested party, allows me to understand.
The question right now is related to the ordinance to have...
Yeah, no. My question is, where do you get the power from? Do you want me to talk about election fraud? What election is? Election makes
Okay,
you...
wait, can we please get back to the city agenda, please?
No. Let's talk
Please.
about where do you get the power to make decisions on our behalf? So tell me, please, if any one of you knows. City of Bayonne is a corporation.
This is the
Like
city-
McDonald's is a corporation. Can McDonald's come to my house and tell me, hey, you owe me $25,000, pay it or we're going to kick you out of your house? Can McDonald's do that? No, right? So how can you're a corporation, you're not a government.
Yeah. Honestly, sir, if you don't want to give your name and number.
I will be happy to do it after you give it to me yours. Isn't it fair? It is fair. People, do you agree with me? Why not? Why? Why? No, they don't. I'll tell you what election is. I'll tell you what election is. Election is fraud. Yes. Now, so I'll give my address and I'll give my name as soon as you answer my question.
Sir, the only answer is, the only question that's right now pending is regarding the ordinance. You want an answer to the ordinance?
No, I'm asking for legitimacy of this entire thing. I'm sorry, ma'am, what's your name?
My name is Carla Garcia.
Carla, I sent you 2 letters to respond, same questions. You didn't respond. You acquiesced. You acquiesced.
So he was the law director at the...
No, there was no law director. I sent you 2 letters, you failed to respond. You don't know, you don't know. You don't know. You're counsel and you don't know. You counsel, you don't know. You don't know the law. You deprived me of my God-given rights. You deprived me personally of my constitutionally protected rights. And you're telling me to shut up and get back into my seat?
I said
Yes, you said, well, basically, that's what you mean. So I'm asking you a question. How does City of Bayonne Corporation have a right to tell we the people here, to tell us what to do? Do you want to talk about election? Do you want to tell us what election really is? I hope you know that.
This
Sir, would
isn't
you-
the
would you
forum to
like an
discuss
answer on
politics
this?
or
It doesn't matter. This is the forum to
does
discuss our fears.
It does.
And I'm asking, like, you guys sitting telling us what you're going to do, and we're sitting, we have no clue what you're talking about, and you telling us what it is that you're going to do, while we have no clue.
But what you're doing is how you get the answers to your questions. You come up,
No, I'm not
follow
getting my
the
answer.
decorum, you ask your
I'm
question.
being questioned and I'm being suppressed. I have a right. I have God-given rights.
I
to
don't
ask
understand what you
any-
mean by suppression. We've asked you several times to
Yeah,
ask your
and-
questions.
And I'm asking you a question. Where do you get your power to tell we the people that you have authority over us? No answer? The answer is no power. You don't have any power. So thank you.
Anyone else on O3? No protest against, objections to, or statements in favor of this ordinance or its passage has been filed with me. May I have a motion to close?
Second.
On the motion to close, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll. Aye. Mr. Perez. Aye. Ms. Weimer. Aye. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
And a resolution ordering final passage.
So move.
And on that resolution, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll. Aye. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Aye. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
04 is an ordinance of the City of Bayonne amending and supplementing the revised general ordinances, Chapter 7, Traffic, which was introduced and passed at the first reading at the meeting held March 18th, was published in the Bergen Record and posted on the bulletin board as required by law, with notice that it would be further considered for final passage following a public hearing at this meeting of April 15th, is now before the council for its consideration and a public hearing. And a resolution giving the ordinance second reading is moved by Councilmember Booker. Mr. Carroll, will you second?
Second.
On the resolution, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Aye. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
And second reading is by title, an ordinance of the City of Bayonne amending and supplementing the revised general ordinances, Chapter 7, Traffic. It is deleting 2 restrictive zones, adding 3. The council is now ready to give all persons interested in this ordinance an opportunity to be heard concerning it. The council president will recognize anyone who wishes to speak. No protest against, objections to, or statements in favor of this ordinance or its passage has been filed with me. May I have a motion to close?
So move.
And on the motion to close, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll. Aye. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Aye. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
And a resolution ordering final passage.
Second.
On the resolution, Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
05 is an ordinance authorizing early voting for the City of Bayonne regular municipal election of 2026 pursuant to NJSA 19:1-15A-1 at SEC. Was introduced and passed the first reading at the meeting held March 18th, was published in the Bergen Record and posted on the bulletin boards required by law, with notice that it would be further considered for final passage following a public hearing at this meeting of April 15th, is now before the council for its consideration and a public hearing. And a resolution moved by Councilmember Perez, giving the ordinance second reading. Mr. Booker, will you second?
Second.
On the resolution, Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
Second reading is by title, an ordinance authorizing early voting for the City of Bayonne's regular municipal election of 2026 pursuant to NJSA 19:1-15A-1 at SEC. The council is now ready to give all persons interested in this ordinance an opportunity to be heard concerning it. The council president will recognize anyone who wishes to speak.
Omar Al-Gahi, 100 Avenue G. Is this according to the state law they just passed with the 10-day early voting, or just want some more information on it?
I actually can answer that. It's something we have to do to have early voting, but the law they passed, it's optional to do the 10 days. We're only going with 3 in the City of Bayonne.
Oh, it's an optional 10 days?
Right.
It's not mandatory
Not
for
mandatory.
all municipal elections?
No.
Okay, I didn't know. Okay, so this is only for the 3 days early
Right.
voting? You have to approve that?
Right.
Right, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else? Okay, no protest against, objections to, or statements in favor of this ordinance or its passage has been filed with me. May I have a motion to close?
So moved.
And a second? And on the motion to close, Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
And a resolution ordering final passage.
Move it.
Second.
And on the resolution, Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Mr. La Palusa. 06 was withdrawn because it was not ready. So moving on to 07 is an ordinance approving the financial agreement by and between the City of Bayonne and Gamal Group East Luxury Apartments Urban Renewal LLC for the property located at 38 Avenue A and 40 Avenue A, which is identified as Block 361, Lots 12, and Block 362, Lot 13, as shown on the official tax map of the city. It was published in the Jersey Journal and posted on the bulletin boards required by law. Actually, it was introduced at the meeting of March 13th, was published in the Bergen Record and posted on the bulletin board as required by law, with notice that it would be further considered for final passage following a public hearing. At this meeting of April 15th is now before the council for its consideration and a public hearing. And a resolution moved by Councilmember Perez. Mr. La Palusa, will you second?
Second.
On the resolution, Mr. Booker. Mr. Carroll. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Mr. La Palusa. Second reading is by title, an ordinance of the City of Bayonne, County of Hudson, New Jersey, approving a financial agreement by and between the City of Bayonne and Gamal Group East Luxury Apartments Urban Renewal LLC for the property located at 38 Avenue A and 40 Avenue A, which is identified as Block 361, Lot 12, and Block 362, Lot 13. The council is now ready to give all persons interested in this ordinance an opportunity to be heard concerning it. The council president will recognize anyone who wishes to speak. Gentlemen.
I will repeat my first question. I would like to understand a little more details, because when you say the property address or block or tax lot number, it doesn't tell me anything. You're telling that you're going to enter into a financial relationship with some company, what it's for, what it's regarding for. We would like to know what the details, because like what you speak is code. I don't understand. So I would appreciate if you provided more details. Thank you.
Sir, before you begin, if you have to state your name and address, it's required of everybody that.
Right after you.
Then we will not be answering the question.
Do you want to do that? Anyone else on 07?
Melissa Godesky Rodriguez, 148 Avenue F. Would you mind sharing how many units, community give back, infrastructure updates, affordable housing, workforce housing options that this development will be giving back to the City of Bayonne?
Sure. So on this development, this is a development site that has been in the works for a number of years. So this is the old Cascam site, but this is only the east side of the two properties on Avenue A and West 3rd and Gertrude Street. So with this one, overall, NW Financial prepared a memo, and three of their findings were basically, they said under conventional taxes, the project produces returns that are not likely to attract private capital, which again requires then, the need for the financial agreement or pilot. Under the proposed pilot terms, the results in economics that allow the project to be financed and constructed, while also providing for the city a significant financial benefit. And three, the project results in a positive net benefit to the city when accounting for the costs associated with the additional residents and school children. So the overall project on this is that this is two 6-story residential buildings for the sake of this, Building A and Building B. Building A is 177 market rate units, 212 mechanical parking spaces, 4,667 square feet of commercial space, with Building B being 122 market rate residential units with 126 mechanical parking spaces and 400 square feet of commercial space. So under Building A, under the conventional scenario, the for the sources and uses of this. NW found that the costs roughly for this will be, for Building A, $71,880,000 to build, debt financed 70% with 30% equity. Overall, with the project economics on this, under the conventional tax scenario, it will roughly be at full stabilization, $7,000 per unit. With that, basically the financial rate of return for the IRR over a 10-year scale will only be 6.7%. So basically, it's very unlikely that under those type of returns, the project would attract private capital if required to pay conventional taxes. So under the pilot scenario for this, it's the developer initially requested a 30-year pilot, but we negotiated the terms to reduce it to 25 years, with the breakdown being one of the more aggressive ones that we've negotiated with, of years 1 through 5 at 10% of adjusted gross revenue, years 6 through 10 at 11% adjusted gross revenue, years 11 through 20 at 12% of adjusted gross revenue, and years 21 through 25 at 13%. Under the mandatory phase-in of taxes otherwise due, the proposed breakdowns are years 1 through 10 at 0%, years 16 through 17 at 20, years 18 through 19 at 40%, years 20 to 22 at 60, and finally years 23 through 25 at 80% otherwise due. So under with the tax, with the pilot scenario on that, the developer, is going to see approximately increases the initial rate of return to about 10%, which is in line to attract private capital to develop this project. Overall, just for the community benefit payment on that, we negotiated a higher model for roughly 2,750 units a door compared to the 25,000 that we've done. Overall, for buildings A and B, it will be $822,250 provided to the city in that for the community benefit payment to parks and infrastructure and schools. As for
I'm sorry, schools? Can you be more specific about that? Because to the best of my knowledge, pilot money cannot go directly to the school system. Is that going to be different in this financial agreement?
This isn't a pilot money. The community benefit payment can be used for infrastructure that the city needs. So
Including schools?
Including schools. But it's.
I would love more information about that.
Well, on that, again, on the breakdown of that, it's in the RDA, because the law has now changed to be more favorable to allow and help for municipalities to fund certain projects. We've asked our financial, our redevelopment council as for different breakdowns of these. While we, it's the breakdown of giving a financial payment through the pilot payment isn't beneficial to the city. Under the redevelopment agreement, with the community benefit payment would be there for, it can. It mostly would allow for capital projects that the school has. So under, again, with the overall building of what the Rutgers study that we've discussed multiple times through past pilots, the overall unit counts between buildings A and B. So under building A, it's roughly $11,228 per student, with local revenue sources at 36.5%. So there's a net cost per student of $4,100. So under the Rutgers study, it's estimated that of the 177 units, that there will be 4 students. Under building B, there will be, out of the 22 units, there will be only 3 students there.
I appreciate all the information, and then I guess workforce housing and affordable housing are not included in this development, in this specific financial agreement, correct?
Not explicitly stated, no. The developer will be required to, on the commercial space, provide the non-residential affordable housing fee. As for workforce housing, that's our market rate, according to the HUD guidelines.
Okay, that's enough. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Sure.
Anyone else?
Jasmine Wade, 170 Avenue F. I have a question for the council. How much funds have you guys put towards building affordable housing? I know he mentioned some funds going to the Affordable Housing Trust, so how much is in that trust now, and what's the plan moving forward? How many units are we building?
So under our affordable housing plan, there is about $14 million that has been funded through development in town, with more coming up with the Prologis site being redeveloped and the film studio. As for the use of those funds, we are under a present need obligation to rehab 750 units, which we've been working on with our housing authority to do so. We do have some new other units being built at Oak Street for about 40 units dedicated for senior and people with special needs. So it's a breakdown of 20 units each there, along with, we're working with the old YMCA to, as the county's only single-room occupancy. Initially, we weren't able to get credit for under Mount Laurel 3, but under Mount Laurel 4, we can. That's 108 units that we can help rehabilitate and keep that facility open.
Okay, so it sounds like we are doing housing for seniors, special needs, and we are rehabbing the YMCA, as well as the 750 units, which I'm assuming is for the Public Housing Authority, or is that?
That is the state requirement. We are working constantly with the Housing Authority on having them have an aggressive rehabilitation program, along with identifying new needs for new buildings that the Housing Authority will build and operate.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? No protest against, objections to, or statements in favor of this ordinance has been.
So move.
Oh, you gotta put it on paper. May I have a motion to close the hearing? It's moved by Councilmember Perez. Who's like the second? And on the motion to close the hearing, Mr. Booker. Mr. Carroll. Mr. Perez. Ms. Weimer. Mr. La Palusa. And a resolution ordering final passage.
So move.
And on the resolution, Mr. Booker. Mr. Carroll. No. Mr. Perez. Ms. Weimer. Mr. La Palusa. 08 is a resolution postponing an ordinance of the City of Bayonne, County of Hudson, State of New Jersey, addressing the requirements for the Fair Housing Act and the Uniform Housing Affordability Controls. Resolution is moved by Councilmember Booker. Mr. Perez, Mr. La Palusa, will you second? Second. On that resolution, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll. Aye. Mr. Perez. Aye. Ms. Weimer. Aye. Mr. La Palusa. Okay, our first speaker is Tom Solari.
Good evening, 8 West Grant Street, Tom Solari. Got a couple of issues. 47th, 48th Street, Avenue A. Dark as ever. You can't see people crossing the streets. This has been like this since the light rail's been put in. It's been brought up numerous times. And numerous times this city council, this one, the other 18 before that, all said, yeah, nothing's done. I guess you're waiting for somebody to get run over in the night. Second issue, this data place that Mr. Booker and Ramon Velez voted on, yes. Are you going to pay the gas and electric for the city of Bayonne? You know New York threw it out because they don't want it because the amount of money of gas and electric and water that they're going to use. I'll be happy to give you my gas bill when I get it. Right? I can guarantee you that's why half of these people are here tonight. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. St. Patty's Day. Mr. Booker, Council at Large candidate Ramon Velez. Okay, there is policies that the parade committee puts out. You could hold political things in front of your campaign headquarters. Okay? Don't turn a parade into a political function. Ramon Velez decided to turn a beautiful day into a frenzy, carrying signs, Sharon Booker all the way up Broadway, disturbing everybody along Broadway. It was despicable on you. It was your candidate. You're the mayor candidate. You should have stopped it. Council President, you were there. You had the rights to stop it, and you didn't. Okay? I'm leaving the other people council out because they don't have the authority to stop it. You, as the president, should have stopped it. You should have stopped it. It was your candidate, and you, right on your ticket. You should have stopped it. And wait, don't speak yet. Let me finish. The whole entire parade route, you were the talk of the town. It was despicable on your half to have that going and encouraging it to do it. You should have stopped it right from 17th Street when it started, and you didn't. If you can't control your guy now, what makes you think you're going to control him for the next 4 years? Goodbye.
Excuse me. If I may address you, Mr. Solari? Sure. Okay. First of all, when the parade started, I was on 5th Street and Broadway. I was unaware of that was happening. They did not make it a political issue. They were walking on the side of the street. Now, they were showing support for who they want to vote for. I did not encourage it, I did not order it, and I did not let it happen.
Wait, did you try to stop it? No, you did not.
Listen, sir, listen. Let's be fair.
I am fair.
All right, let's be fair.
I read the rules and regulations of that parade committee.
Okay, well,
All right,
listen.
Mr. Booker, wrap it up. Let him
No
say what
excuses.
he had to say.
No excuses.
No back and forth.
You're wrong, that's it.
No back and forth.
Okay, well-
Let it go.
Well, listen, I'm not going to just let it go. At one point, if you want to express and have a feeling to me, that's one thing. Number two, don't point to me and please tell me to stop, okay? I did not encourage it, okay? I did not order it, and I was marching in a parade myself. They were on the sidewalk.
Okay, but you should
right.
still
So,
stop it.
that's all I'm going to say.
Okay, I'm gonna remind everybody right now, this is a 5-minute statement period, not a question and answer period.
He turned it into that, not me.
If you turned it into
All
it, sir.
right, enough.
Ms. Matters? Jesse Kimmick?
Jesse Kamek, 177 Hobart Avenue. I'm here because I received a letter in the mail regarding mandatory lead-based testing, lead paint testing, I'm sorry. I understand that's required by the state, and the thing that's confusing me is that it came in what appears to be an official City of Bayonne envelope. It's on City of Bayonne letterhead with the seal on both of them. When you read the letter, the company, Lou Environmental, is listed 12 times. It's an advertisement. So what I'm here to find out is, did the residents pay for this letter to be made and mailed out? Like, that's a lot of money going out. Apparently, a lot of people have received it. So I want to know who paid for the mailing of this? If it did come from the city, why are we supporting a private business? I understand that the city's working as a partner with them on things, but still, there should be some type of separation. Somebody had contacted me on Facebook when I posted something about this, and they said that the city had no knowledge of this. If that is true, why is the city not going after this company for unethical behavior, impersonation, fraud? Because anybody that received this is assuming that this came from the city of Bayonne. How are residents supposed to know when you get something in the mail if action isn't taken? Is this legit? If somebody could send me something in one of these envelopes saying I have to pay $400 or they're going to take my house. Most residents, especially older people, they're going to pay it because they're afraid. It looks official. When I tried to inquire yesterday to get a follow-up on the situation, there was no response. It was never given a call back. So I do want to find out who in fact mailed this letter out. Is any action being taken? Was the letter authorized or approved? Do you guys have any knowledge or anything about this?
If you want to come after the meeting, we can, or give us your name and number. But this is not a question and answer.
All right,
so-
well, another thing, it could just be a rumor or not. I know that they are asking think roughly $200 for an inspection. And from my understanding, that's just a visual inspection. Okay, that does not include the certificate, which would be another $150 per unit. The rumor is, and I don't know if it's true or not, but out of that $200, $100 will go back to the city of Bayonne. So if that is accurate or not, I don't know, but one thing's for sure, like, we should definitely not be advertising for a private company if it did come from us. So,
Sir, my name is Jacqueline Weimer.
yes.
I'm the councilwoman in the second ward. I'm going to answer your question to the best of my knowledge.
Okay.
I'm aware of this requirement coming down from the state. You should know in my professional life, I do trust and estate planning for the handicapped and disabled. There is a requirement that the municipality require all homeowners, especially those that have rental properties, to certify that there is no lead-based paint in their home, right, in their residency. So in order for you to do that, you have to have a certified company that has been approved by the state perform that test. To the best of my knowledge, and I did not go through this exercise myself, but
Okay.
what I was told was, and I do know that the requirement is there by the state because I've received that requirement in my professional life as well. So to the best of my knowledge, what this municipality did was go out and solicit companies that do this and negotiate a preferred rate for our residents to pay rather than everybody going to an individual company paying a much higher rate. So I do believe that the recommendation, not a requirement, the recommendation to use that company is there because we know they will give you a preferred rate that is much lower than what the going rate is.
Okay, a standard, you go to Lowe's, you can go on Amazon, a standard lead paint test kit is like $20, $25.
Yeah,
There's a
and
big
for-
separation between $25
I
and
understand that.
$200.
I don't disagree. And listen, everybody's finances are being strained over different requirements. To the best of my knowledge, the state is mandating that it be a certified company that has already been approved. So I do think that you can reach out to our law director. I believe that is who, Donna Russo, I believe that is who reached out to the different companies. I do also believe that that is who the letter was initiated by.
By our law department?
Our law department, right? Because it is a requirement that's coming to us.
So,
So we're passing it to you because it's a requirement that we have through the state that we have to notify all of our homeowners.
correct, and I understand that a state requires it, that's fine. But in this letter, their company is named 12 times. It is an advertisement. It is not a piece of informative information
Right, so I
from the
understand
city.
that, and it may have, and I do wish, and this is where I don't fault you, because I do wish that all of our different departments internally would provide the council with a copy of any correspondence that goes out to our residents. And we are not afforded that luxury, and I do wish we were. But if you would like to say after, or you'd like to send me an email, you're welcome to do so. I will take that letter and then go back and get you that information. But in any case, I think that is done because, and I have no affiliation with that company. I actually don't even know who the company is, nor have I ever heard of them.
Okay.
But I think that was done really in the hopes that you wouldn't be out there reaching for a company that's going to charge you in excess of that. So that is what I believe. I don't necessarily know that to be the truth, but that is what I am hopeful was the intent, and that is what I was led to believe that we would do when this requirement came down from the state. So if you'd like to stay after or give me a copy of that letter, if you'd like to leave it with our clerk, I'm happy to look into that and get back to you.
Okay, and just to clarify, the city did approve it, or they did send it out. Once again, this does come off as an advertisement. Now, me personally, I don't know about anybody else, but I'm not paying for a private company to be advertised for, nor do I want to strive all that business to them. It's a bullying type letter. It's tricking people
Right,
and
but you
forcing them
will
to have to
pay
use this company.
if you don't get the inspection, so we're trying to avoid you
Well, that's the
having a
other thing.
fine
It also
with the
states that
state.
there's a $1,000 per week fine
And
Who's enforcing that? The city of Bayonne or the state of New Jersey?
I don't know what that dollar amount is. I do know that there is consequences that come down from the state. So I don't know that to be true.
But if the city's giving permission to use their letterhead, their seal, and mail out letters to residents, don't you think it's a good idea to review any material that is sent out?
Well, again,
Just if it's false
fortunately,
or anything?
that's not a luxury afforded to us.
That should be put in your contract that you sign with whatever company you're giving permission to. It's standard operating
Well,
procedure for anybody.
I don't know that letter didn't come from this. I can't, again, I don't have the appropriate information
I can hand you the letter.
to give to you. And so in the interest of everyone's time, and I do know that this is a matter of interest to the community, but if you'd be so kind as to put your name and phone number on there, I will get back to you, or just your phone number, I understand it's addressed to you. But if you want to give that to me, I'll go in the back and make a copy and give it back to you.
Sure.
And you can perhaps write your phone number on there? All right, I'm happy to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Crystal Aponte?
Hello, my name is Crystal Aponte, 32 East 17th Street. I want to talk about the data center being built where the Delta storage facility was on Hook Road. I'm just going to talk a little bit about the negative impacts of data centers, considering I've lived in Bayonne my entire life and I care about its residents and I have family and friends here. Data centers do not have a place in Bayonne. They consume an unjustifiable amount of resources such as water, energy, and fossil fuels that will emit greenhouse gases into our air. When data centers are built, they raise utility rates for nearby communities. That's us. As demand surges, utility companies pass the costs of infrastructure upgrades and increased energy procurement onto residents and small businesses through higher rates. Bayonne residents have already seen an immense increase in their electricity bills, and this would only make it higher. This isn't just conspiracy theories, this is confirmed science. Many of us are already aware of this, but for anyone who isn't, the rise in costs is directly coming from the energy that these data centers popping up all around the state are using. And there's a reason that New Jersey residents are fighting against data centers in their towns. For example, the 100 protesters who stood up to fight against a data center in Vineland in Cumberland County last month. A report from Synapse Energy Economics shows that New Jersey residents and small businesses are already paying more for electricity because of data center energy consumption, and that data centers were the main driver of the 20% jump in electric bills that New Jerseyans experienced in June 2025. This also isn't just about electricity bills. These are some points from the 2024 United States Data Energy Usage Report to Congress. The report finds that data centers consumed about 4.4% of total U.S. electricity in 2023, and they are expected to consume approximately 6 to 12%, again, of total U.S. electricity by the year 2028. The total indirect water footprint of U.S. data centers is nearly 800 billion liters, with B. And total greenhouse gas emissions, 61 billion kilograms of carbon dioxide. This data center will contribute to air pollution, undoubtedly, which is a danger not only to our planet by contributing to climate change, but to all of us directly. The American Lung Association states that air pollution contributes to asthma, increasing the risk of premature birth, causing or worsening lung and heart disease, and shortening lives. Those aren't the only other things either. There's a lot more consequences of air pollution. The health, happiness, and well-being of our community should by far take priority above a data center that nobody wants here, and any potential economic benefits are irrelevant when they come at the cost of our health, our climate, and our quality of life. This is a very surface-level argument due to time constraints, but I ask that if you haven't, you please do your research on the negative impacts of data centers. And since I have 2 minutes left, I was watching the video last night of the council meeting from December 2025, where this was proposed to you guys. And I found it alarming that nobody had any questions about how it would impact the residents of Bayonne. Do any of you have any comment on why you didn't raise any questions about what the data center in Bayonne would mean for us?
Again, just a statement period, not question, answer, back and forth. There's a lot
Oh, okay.
a lot of people who want to speak as well.
How much money do you get from this? As big as him? How much money do you...
So if I'm not able to ask questions, I'd just like to make a statement that it's very disappointing that you did not ask any questions. And in the future, when you're voting on such important matters, you absolutely should be well-versed in what you're voting for. And if you are well-versed in something such as this, I think that's very concerning. That's all.
So I do think that you are entitled to something of an answer. And while I certainly don't want to make this to take up anyone's time, it is an issue that is out in our community, and it's very concerning to our residents.
I wanted to make a statement after everybody spoke. That was the reason why I wanted to, not that I didn't want to answer you, but I know there's several other people that are going to speak on this as well.
Okay.
All right, and I'm happy to defer. My simple comment was that the ordinance that was put in front of us, because I took part in that ordinance, and I may not take part in the next one that would actually consider the use of that property. The ordinance that was in front of us was to expand available uses, to expand the definition of what could potentially go there. So nothing specific. Do not know if that will end up being here. Do not know. And the concerns that I had were emergency issues, how our fire department was trained if that should come up, if the need should arise, what impact it would have to our residents as far as utilities. And to the best of my knowledge, and from the head of our planning and zoning, and these were questions that were put forth by the entire council, were, at that point in time, were given to us that there would be no significant impact. And so the question was there. And so that it was there, it was presented to us. Certainly, the council president may have expanded knowledge and additional information that I don't have, but those were the questions that I asked at that period of time.
And it's true that we're constantly learning
gonna
more
defer.
about the environmental impact of this thing. And at the time, we were given the information that there was going to be external water company, energy company, things like that to be used. So that was the reason why that came about, the vote came about in December. But we're learning a lot more different things. We're learning about the possible wave radiation and the impact on even wildlife and people around it.
And really, where your comments will be best served is if a use is presented to this council at whatever point in time, and I may certainly not be here then, but where your comments would be best served would be at that point in time. Because right now, there's nothing in front of us. And I do think that community involvement and comment, because at that point in time, there was no community involvement, and there was no comment either. And again, it's posted. The information is posted. And so I would say to you where your comments would be best served would be if a use was put in front of the council, whoever that is, at any point in time. It should be voted on. Okay.
Yeah, it should be voted.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'd like to interject, since everyone's speaking, I know it's going to come up, and I'd like to make a statement in regards to the data center. Now, when it was brought to the planning board, okay, and we... Excuse me. Please, let's be respectful, okay? I'm doing that to you, okay? The fact of the matter is that... well, listen, if I...
Okay, please.
Okay.
Please don't yell. Please don't yell. Come up to the microphone and speak. If you want to speak, come up to the microphone, please.
Listen, if you want to... Yeah, exactly. If you want to come to the microphone, you can. What I want to explain to you is that when it came to the planning board, okay, there was about multiple uses on that property. We did not agree. It was one of the uses that could be. Now, just, can I, excuse me.
Okay, sir.
Sir.
Sir, please don't get excited.
Please, if you would allow me to finish my statement, then you can finish yours. Okay, listen, I'm not belittling anyone, sir. As I can tell you right now, myself, I have been concerned about a data center, the pros and cons. Myself, I've been doing my own research. So the fact of the matter is, we did not approve, and I did not approve, when it came to the planning board, it was for multiple uses with the possibility of a data center. Now, excuse me. Well, no. Listen, what I'm telling you is that I did my own research. Pros and cons. It has not been passed, and you right now are saying, yes, I did approve, unaware that that was going to be a data center. It was one of the possible uses. Sir, I respect your opinion. I respect the residents of this town. It's not approved. So please don't have a knee-jerk reaction on what we're trying to decide up here. That's what I want the public to know. Thank you.
Leroy Truth.
Before I begin, I got to say, I'm so proud of each and every one of you, true patriots here, that aren't going to allow them to get away with this.
Yeah, start the clock, please.
Not going to stop them. They already started my time. Disgusting. And as long as these particular people are in office, you will talk, I will talk, and they won't give a hoot about it, and they will do whatever the hell they want because they forgot their public servants and not our masters.
They are not the law.
All right, it's a shame you started my time. Ridiculous. And Medina, you are very angry. So, Gary LaPalooza, I am Larry. I am Larry. I am not. I am Leroy. I am. And I am here because people keep asking me to ask you questions. Now, I want you to breathe before I get started. Take a deep breath, a nice yogic breath. First question. I received a letter from Mike. He says he went to Marist High School with you. He is upset with Marist closing and you being named in a lawsuit which could cost the taxpayers $21 million. Gary, will you return any campaign donations for developer Alessi? 10 seconds, go. You know, he becomes mute every time I come up here. I never heard him speak before when he was talking to you. All right, and your silence, I'm going to assume means yes. Number 2, Gary, out of 3. We got 3 questions here. For Jeopardy, $500. Gary, recently 2 people with the county pled guilty to fraud and a 3rd person was indicted. They all work in the same office with you. From my source at the county, Murray was allegedly wearing a wire recording people. As we learn, you know something about recording people, right, Gary LaPalooza? Did Murray record you, and are you under investigation? You're running for office. The public needs to know in transparency, are you under investigation? You wouldn't tell us even if you were. Gary, you do know it's illegal to, let's say, go to grand openings in Bayonne on county time. Did you ever hear that? You're alleged to have been stealing county time or getting estimates for your private company, your lawn company, on county time? I'm just saying. Question number 3, Gary. How come in 2024, and this is a winner here, ladies and gentlemen, did you get this type of raise? How come in 2024 your salary went in the county was $110,332, then in 2025, when previous Mayor Jimmy Davis runs for sheriff and you are his campaign person, your 2025 salary gets raised to $139,030. You got a 26% raise. I want your job. Everyone else gets a 3% raise. Can you explain this? Ready? 10 seconds, go. You're like the first mime council president. Are you a mime? Well, Gary, finally, I received by courier, I live in Connecticut. I drive 3 hours to get here in traffic. And someone by courier, they sent me this. And with a note that said, please gift this to Gary LaPalooza, president of the council, tonight at the meeting. And when I looked at it, I was like, what is this and what does it mean? And I didn't know what it meant, but they asked me to do it. It seemed okay, so I'm going to show it to the audience first. And this is to Gary LaPalooza. And it has something to do with the loan company, like you allegedly stealing time while you're working on county time. And I'm happy to autograph this to you from Leroy Truth. See me afterwards. Hang this up in your mantle in a place of honor. So, here, I'll leave this here for you to see. I gotta tell you, I'm blown away. What they did, that looks like you. Oh, and that's Quagmire. That's the giggity guy. Can you do that for us now? Do a little giggity.
Not in public.
No, he won't do it in public. And lastly, in my last 41 seconds, you still have the person that was found to have sexually harassed and sexually assaulted a female Hudson County Sheriff, Matt Fedro, who's your leader. He's the head of the Democratic Committee, ladies and gentlemen, and he was found to have sexually harassed and sexually assaulted a female Hudson County Sheriff, and he has not been fired, he has not been suspended, he has not been charged. And that comes from a third-party agency, that comes from Internal Affairs. Yet he is still the president of the Bayonne Committee. He is still a lieutenant in the Hudson County Sheriffs. And the woman, the female officer, she is terrified for her life, I was told. Jimmy Davis, Hudson County Sheriff, is allegedly retaliated against her, that she has disappeared from the map.
Please wrap up your comments. Thank you.
All right, that's it. God bless you all, and you got to get rid of all these people.
Medina, please call the next person.
Wesley Knight.
Sweetheart, before you speak, do you mind if I speak? Thank you so much.
I'm going to take my 5 minutes. So I'm Jacqueline Weimer. I am the second ward council person, but I too am a resident. And here's what I am going to say to everyone here. I have no dog in this upcoming race because I am not running. And I'm not running for this reason. You are making, all of you, are making a mockery out of the very thing you're fighting for. It is ridiculous. Ridiculous. You are here only at this point in time. The last 30 days, 60 days, I have seen anyone here. You were not here when that came up to vote in December. You were not here all throughout the last 4 years. You were not here. You care now because somebody has asked you to. Let's face it, be honest. This is a mockery. You are making a very mockery of the people you put in office.
Jackie,
I will
Jackie,
not take part in it.
Jackie, wrap it up.
I thank you for being here, but I will not take part in it.
Jackie,
Everyone
wrap it
in
up,
this
please.
race, as I said during my press release, I am not aligned with any of the views and visions for the future of this city that any team currently running has. And I think that this is being done all in the wrong way. Fight for what you believe in, fight for our city, fight for what is here, but do it in the right way.
All right, Jackie, please, come back to your seat,
I'm done.
please.
You got it?
Yeah. Okay. I know the tensions are high today. But I'm not here today to talk about an issue. I'm actually here to talk about how happy I am with Bayonne and how much I love its history and oh yeah, my name is Wesley Knight. But I want to also talk about all the fun things that are in Bayonne and all the awesome, amazing things that I do and that I'm involved with and how much I enjoy it. First off, I'm going to start off with a little bit of history. Before Bayonne was colonized, it was home to the Lenape Native Americans until it was colonized by the Netherlands when Henry Hudson was exploring the North River. After this, in 1840, the Bergen Neck became part of Hudson County, which was just created. This area separated Bergen County and Essex County, starting to form the land that we know today. Bayonne was then formed a township in 1861. In 1877 there was a strike that members in Bayonne that worked at oil companies wanted to, they wanted better pay. So, and then next in 1888, the Bayonne Medical Center opened up because the city grew in population. In World War II, it was a large housing terminal. After this, we moved, Bayonne did a big move and it went from mainly using oil as its main fuel source to using more electric, which leads into the next thing, which is the construction of Hudson Bergen Light Rail, which is, well, we all know what that is. As well, now it kind of leads us into what we know today with Bayonne, with the large number of churches that we have in Bayonne, the many places that we know, and we all love to go to, like the many parks, like First Street Park, County Park, 16th Street Park, other places like the library. There's tons of small businesses. Like when I grew up, there's a ton of small businesses around me, like Boho Bookshop, Produce Mart, LeBranch, and Bacon Brew. There's also a ton of different sports programs that I'm involved in, a lot of them. Them being kickball, I do floor hockey, I do the flag football. There's a lot of different things to do. There's also festivals, as well as many different memorials. Like the two I know the most is the World War I Memorial next to Mary J. and the 9/11 Teardrop Memorial that I go to every year with the Scouts. There's also parades and other events like Summer Sounds. And at the library, there were events like Dungeons and Dragons and or chess that you can do. There's also issues in Bayonne, but in like last month I was here, and I was here with the other scouts, and I was talking about some of the issues. Some of them are there's flooding, the scrapyard that I talked about last month, the littering after school that my friend talked about, and then schools being overcrowded. Bayonne has a lot of interesting and unique events, fun things to sign up for, and amazing history. Thank you very much for listening.
Wesley, you did let me tell you something. I bet every one of my students in my history class wishes I get through as much history in 5 minutes as you just did instead of taking 45 minutes. That was amazing. And I think I said this to you last month when you came and we talked about some of those issues you raised. It is known as the silly season, and you were very brave to make a return this month after hearing much of what you heard again repeated here tonight last month, and I admire you. Keep that fortitude, keep that strength. And hopefully you're an example to us all that we can talk to each other and handle these things in a respectful way. So good work.
Jenna Reddick. Rhetoric, if I'm pronouncing that right.
Hello, my name is Jenna Reddick, 128 West 55th Street. After living here for 20 plus years, I'm very disappointed to learn that this council sometimes does not have the town's interests at the best heart. To the metal scrapyard, to small businesses and longtime residents being priced out of their homes, to the lack of things that benefit the community, and now a data center being proposed here. Why does a 3-mile town with no infrastructure or room for even its own residents need a data center? It won't add jobs here, it won't lower our electric and water bills, and it definitely won't increase our property value. But you know what will? It'll make our property values lower, because who on earth would want to live right next to a data center? It'll add even more air pollution to our town and pollution to our waterways that are finally recovering after all these years. The additional heat from the data center will also cause thermal pollution to the town and waterways. Heat that will cause our aquatic wildlife to diminish from lower oxygen levels. The diesel fuel backup generators that the center will use will quickly poison our air every second it's turned on. All residents' energy bills will increase greater than the 20% we're currently experiencing with the data centers being here in New Jersey. 20% that the working class constituents can barely afford right now with the rising additional costs happening all across America. Why would we want to foot the bills and any other additional costs generated by multimillionaire companies? There's immense complaints about the noise pollution coming from the metal scrapyard, so why would you want to add additional complaints from more taxpayers? You can say anything you want about this center having to follow state and local laws and ordinances, but we already see what's going on with the metal scrapyard and the state of this country. And when these data centers close, they will. The executives will be going to the bank while the taxpayers have to bear the consequences and long-lasting damage that they will cause. We're now considered a town to data center developers that is, and I quote, not thought to be as attractive as a place like Jersey City, but might be more welcoming for this type of development, unquote. A city that we live in is being said about like that. Does that not make you feel shame to hear your own town being called attractive while you're in office? But I guess that doesn't really matter because the developers are happily lining their pockets at the cost of the taxpayers' quality of life. To hear that our town and taxpayers living here are just a positive footnote to developers is embarrassing. There's no consideration for the numerous harm that will cause from the data center, not just in Bayonne, but across America. There's a reason why Americans are fighting against this tooth and nail in their own communities. We as constituents want you, as our elected public officials, to do your duty and just say no to data centers in Bayonne. That's it.
Cameron?
Hi guys, I'm Cameron Schaff. I live at 79 West 30th Street. I've only been a Bayonne resident for only a few years now, but I've really have come to love what you guys do here. You know, our young friend especially really spoke to me. However, I am admittedly really concerned about this data center stuff. I understand that just because it's being rezoned doesn't mean it's actually getting built, but why did we rezone it in the first place? I don't understand how that could come to be. There's a good reason why data centers have a bad reputation, and it really remains unclear how data centers benefit anyone in Bayonne. What's the long-term economic benefit? The increased employment opportunities through the construction of the data center is just temporary, and there are very few, if any, permanent job opportunities through the data centers that don't guarantee that these would extend to locals. Additionally, the presence of data centers would decrease the surrounding property value, which contradicts the economic goals of Bayonne. Further, Bayonne is just the 3-mile long, half-mile wide city. It doesn't really have the infrastructure to house such a facility. And the sheer amount of noise produced by these data centers poses a great threat to the general public health of the residents. Given the size of our town and the reach of the noise of the data centers, the New Jersey regulations are not enough. And finally, and quite infamously, the data centers would bring soaring PSEG prices for everyone across the grid. Resources would be better served focusing on smart developments, bring consistent long-term economic growth and benefit to the community. But I feel that our politicians might want a quick fix that seems like it would only bring harm in both the short and long term. Rezoning a redevelopment plan is one of the first steps in a new build. please just prove me wrong and listen to your constituents. We all really care, and we're all here for a reason today. Thank you guys so much for your time.
Adam Berlinski.
Adam Berlinski, 79 West 30th Street. I'm here to talk about a data center. I want to start off by saying that I'm a civil engineer, so I'm very familiar with the processes when it comes to redevelopment and rezoning. But I want to address some of the comments that Mr. Carroll made regarding the data center, and which is pretty similar to what we've been hearing today. I attended last week's meeting with a few other people, and after that meeting, Mr. Carroll approached us and very briefly discussed the data center issue. What he said was, it's not like a data center is being built tomorrow, it's just being added to the list of allowable uses for the property. And that's true, but what it sounds like to me is there's a data center developer interested in the property, because why else would the current owner of the property ask for this amendment to the redevelopment? Because the inclusion of a data center to this redevelopment plan is an amendment. So there already was an approved redevelopment plan. So what you voted on December 3rd was specifically to add a data center to that amendment. So you could have voted against that, you could have denied that, and all the other uses would have still been approved. But you voted specifically to add a data center to those uses. Additionally, you also said that if someone were to propose this, it would have to go through, the whole approval process. All these departments would have to review the proposal, which again is true, but is missing the main point, which is that there shouldn't even be an opportunity for this to be proposed in the first place. Like I said, I'm a civil engineer. I've worked very closely with a lot of municipalities to get a lot of different things approved, so I'm familiar with the processes, and I'm familiar with how relentless developers can be. If their proposal meets all the requirements, meets all the regulations, all the codes, it's more than likely going to get approved. Every data center that's being built now and that has been built has gone through a similar process. So for you to say, oh, there's this whole approval process and it's going to have to get all these departments to agree, it is irrelevant, because you can see how many data centers are popping up now and they're all going through the same process.
It will get approved.
Also, during the planning board meeting on December 3rd, when you maybe discussed this issue for a whole 30 seconds, you did bring up the fact that there are some state regulations that can mitigate a lot of these concerns. But at the end of the day, even with the regulations, it's still going to be loud, it's still going to be bad for the environment, it's still going to use up resources, and it just does not benefit the community in any way. So, again, even with all these things, it doesn't make sense to add this to the list of uses. And finally, Mr. Booker, as a lot of people know, you are running for mayor. And I hear you talking about how much change you want to bring, along with your team, which I think, Mr. Keller, you're a part of, and Mr. LaPalooza, you're a part of as well. Is this the type of change that we should expect if you become mayor? Because I'm going to be taking this into consideration when I vote. And since I still have some time left, I just want to add one more thing. At the last meeting, you guys spent more time talking about an Airbnb notice letter than you did about this, which is ridiculous. Thank you.
Patricia Hillard.
Okay, my name is Patricia Hilliard, 42 West 23rd Street. I'm the chairperson of the Hudson County Group of the New Jersey chapter of the Sierra Club. I'm here to ask you to please provide transparency to the community. Let us in on all the information about this data center. Let us have a voice, and don't try making little deals secretly, quietly, but keep the community involved. Everyone has just told you how these data centers will run up the price of electricity and water and pollute the air, and we want you to keep those things in mind. We cannot afford prices going up and up, and we cannot afford to have our environment polluted to create data centers. And what do these data centers do? Oh, well, they might do good things for medical research or something like that, but you know what else they do? They operate crypto, which is surveillance, and also dark money, which can control our political system. And this is all operating in these data centers. So we're asking you, be transparent with the community, listen to what we have to say, take it seriously, because we will be considering this when we vote, and help us build a happy, healthy community. Thank you very much.
Caitlin?
Good evening. My name is Caitlin Tynan Pongalinen. I live at 104 West 52nd Street. I am a new homeowner here in Bayonne, but prior to my purchase at West 52nd Street at the end of last year, my husband and now 4-year-old son lived with my in-laws in Bayonne for about a year as we saved money for our own house. In our housing search, we looked at other towns, of course, but it was what I saw living here that convinced me that Bayonne was the place to plant roots and raise my son. I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir, but I think Bayonne is a great place to live. It has a small town feel while being close enough to city life. I love that the whole town is alive right before school as our kids and parents shuffle off to their daily activities. I love that Bayonne has nice, clean playgrounds almost everywhere, and each one has its own splash pad. I love that Bayonne is diverse and that it celebrates the diversity through various cultural festivals and parades that the city puts on throughout the year. Most of all, I love the free pre-K program. That was a huge reason why we decided to stay in Bayonne, because it ultimately allowed us to buy our house. And as I'm actively trying to convince all of my friends that they should move here with their families, hearing that we're making a way for a data center, I honestly feel like I may have been wrong. Because I feel that the introduction of a data center into our community is antithetical to what I think Bayonne is. I honestly can't understand why we would bother trying to make Bayonne such a nice place for our people and then try to poison them. I'm not naive. I know this idyllic location comes at a cost. We are surrounded by large pollution, the airport, the power plants, the factories, and of course the cruise terminal and the port. So I ask you, if we are already breathing in so much junk, why would you want your neighbors, your family, your children and grandchildren to breathe in more? How can we continue to attract young families with the lure of easing the financial burden of childcare only to add it to their utility bills? Not to mention the impact on their children's health. We're already feeding our kids Pop-Tarts and animal crackers for breakfast at school. How can we expect them to brush their teeth with sludge at night? How does Bayonne continue to grow if no one can afford to live here? And frankly, how does a movie studio help us if they can't afford to keep the lights on and the cameras rolling due to rising utility costs? As a new member in this Bayonne community, I want to believe that this is a great place to live. I really think you've created a beautiful and special place here, so I'm hoping I'm not wrong. I'm one of you now, so please don't prove me wrong. I hate being wrong. I believe in Bayonne, and I believe in you, and I know you will make the right decision to keep these out of our communities. Please keep the Pandora's box closed and keep data centers out of Bayonne. Thank you.
Joseph?
Good evening, Council. Joseph Pangilinan, 104 West 52nd Street. I'm sure you don't need me to reiterate what has been said by my better half, my wife who just spoke, and as well as the previous very well-informed public commenters. I'm mostly just here to express concern about the process that has led us to this point with the data center. I saw the videos from December 3rd and then the City Council December 10th, and I was frankly pretty appalled by the lack of discourse that took place during those meetings regarding a pretty well-known controversial use. It's pretty well documented, the impacts. They've been repeated to you by the commenters here. They're all over the news. Large increases in utility costs, some municipalities seeing up to 80%. Great amounts of air, water, light pollution, noise pollution. And it's incredibly discouraging to see this board be somewhat so dismissive about these concerns with the way that they've handled this. Even with Councilmember Weimer kind of pointing out that we didn't show up until now. Well, we're here now, and we can still fix it. I mean, we would like to be able We understand that the developer who would like to come in here would have to go through a process. They would have to go through some sort of site plan. It would be reviewed by the planning board. And yeah, that would be about it, really. But if they go through these, but at this point, we've already opened the door. And I implore you to close it back up and basically pursue another amendment to the redevelopment plan, taking it out as a use, bring it back to the community. You have all these people who are aware of this issue now. If you can bring us a very good argument on how this may not, have massive negative impacts into our lives, into the well-being of the city, I'm sure we'll hear you out. But the way it's been done, it really looks like you kind of got one over on us, and you're kind of laughing at us for it. So please do the right thing. All we ask is transparency. We want to live here. We love this place. We want to be able to participate and be a part of this community, but we want a good faith attempt at transparency and governance from our city council, our planning boards, and all our boards. That's all. Thank you.
Karina?
Hi, my name is Karina Zanat, and I live at 114 Prospect Avenue. I'm also a certified yapper, so I appreciate you taking the time to listen to me today. A year ago, I got married and bought a house with my husband. We love Bayonne so far. We're planning on starting a local business here to serve the community in the next couple of years when we have the money. And emotionally speaking, I pretty much plan on dying here. And logically speaking, I stand to benefit if property values don't crash and we continue to attract young people with spending power to our community. Very much the same people the city government was probably hoping to attract when they approved all the fancy condo buildings that now sit mostly empty while we wait for all the perceived benefits to appear when all the occupants move to Bayonne. For that to happen, we must make sure that Bayonne stays a place that is attractive to young people and growing families. I oppose the potential data center for the following 7 reasons. Sorry if some of these sound repetitive. Number 1, Bayonne is the wrong fit for this project. It's a dense waterfront city on the Hudson County, close to the city, and that means land here is too valuable and too close for homes for large industrial data centers, or small or medium. This kind of facility belongs in is more suitable for an industrial area, not a tight residential community. Number 2, the noise and light can hurt daily life and health. Data centers run 24 hours a day and can bring constant low humming sounds from cooling systems, generators, and related equipment. Even if the sound is not deafening, nonstop noise can disturb sleep, raise stress, and affect people's health and pets over time. I have 3 cats. Imagine if your dogs for the next 15 years are just acting nuts constantly and you don't know why. Number 3, Bayonne residents are already dealing with rising electric bills, and this could make it worse. New Jersey electricity costs rose sharply in 2025, with reports showing a 15 to 20% increase, and the average household paying roughly $20 to $30 more per month. A power-hungry data center puts more pressure on the grid, and that is the last thing residents need when families are already struggling with the price of eggs. Number 4, the environmental and water burden is very real. Data centers use massive amounts of electricity and significant cooling infrastructure, which can create more emissions, generate more pollution, and put strain on local resources. Number 5, the project offers too few long-term benefits for trade-offs it creates. I've worked in tech for 10 years. I can tell you standing right here that the number of jobs that might temporarily be created while they're setting up and constructing these things do not mean long-term jobs. Exactly. Number 6, property values can be affected, especially for nearby homes. Even where studies show mixed results overall, there's clear evidence that these facilities can reduce nearby housing values. Buyers, especially from New York City, will often worry about the same things with data centers that we are here today for. Noise, traffic, visual impact, utility strain, and the feeling that they're living next to a 24/7 industrial operation, something that my friends back in Manhattan, Brooklyn, and Astoria definitely are not cool with. Lastly, Bayonne should protect its neighborhoods, not gamble with them. When a project can bring noise, health concerns, higher utility pressures, environmental stress, and possible harm to nearby home values, the city should slow down and demand much stronger safeguards. I'm going to take a step back now and tell you a little story from my family. When I was 10 years old, the wealthiest uncle in my community wanted to buy a house on a golf course. It was his American dream. Every time his wife brought up concerns about the golf course grass relying on chemical usage, he would dismiss it as fear-mongering. Today, as a 36-year-old, I can tell you that no one in the community wants to inherit that home or buy it from him at a reduced cost, given the irrefutable proof that living on a golf course is correlated to higher rates of cancer and ALS. This has been a very strong lesson in my family. Given that context, at last week's meeting, someone from the city came over to a group of us and said, it's not like it's being built tomorrow, right? And as we've been reminded again today, all the meeting that happened last December did was expand the usage, right? No one is, I'm not at least standing here and saying, you guys definitely made a backroom deal and approved the building of this thing, right? I don't know, I haven't been here long enough. Right, so I'm just saying, I don't know. Now, council members, I can stand before you and tell you that whether a definition is being expanded or an actual data center is being built, whether it's in 10 months or 10 years, I would personally still be here today. I plan on dying in this community. Look around you today. Look at the diversity in age, socioeconomics, and demographics. Some of us are more driven by health concerns, some by rising bills, and some by property value crashes, and some by their lack of trust in city government. Either way, the majority of people here today have kept abreast of basic research and concerns about data centers. And I'm inclined to think that if no one on the board are the type to preemptively take out data centers from the land use definition, then going forward, we should all collectively help you keep up with the research. Thank you.
KB?
Hi, my name is Kuwar Bhattacharya, 114 Prospect Avenue. First of all, I would like to, my experience of buying a house in Bayonne, we recently just bought it 2 years ago and we moved in. I would like to say that I feel very welcome. Thank you for everyone that I've come across in the city, has really helped me feel like I'm a part of the community already. And like my wife said, we would love to be a extended part of this community till our old age. Unfortunately, I have worked in close proximity with data centers before I moved to the US. We were on a tech campus, and a data center far smaller than what is being proposed right now became a part of our tech campus 2 years into me working there. There's just one thing I would like to bring up that has not been mentioned before, is that there are certain effects that are not tangible, that you will be feeling 100%, but we will not be able to sort of quantify them. Me, my entire team, and probably 2,000 of us working in that building felt nausea, felt headaches, felt irritability, to the extent that we actually shifted most of our offices miles away from where the data centers actually was. So that was a company, for-profit company, that took that step. And the most vulnerable part of the community would be affected by this. Animals first, children second, who don't really understand, then the older population of this county. One fine day, there will be a guest at your house and be like, hey, what's that hum that we all are hearing? You wouldn't realize it because your ear is not registering it anymore. But over a period of time, you'll realize your temper is getting shorter, you're feeling more nauseous, you're feeling more anxious, and that's not really a town that we all want to be a part of. And I hope we can really take that into consideration as well. As somebody who has been through that myself, I hope we do not, make that a part of a community. Thank you.
Mike Resigno.
Good evening, Mike Resigno, 42 West 23rd. I want to say also, I don't think anybody in the council here is doing anything under the table or crooked in anything like this. I know you have a tough job to do, but, it's people just find out stuff and it's a shock. So.
Thank you.
Bayonne, New Jersey, small town USA. That's how I feel about Bayonne. Even though we're right across the bay of one of the largest cities in the world. Living here over 25 years, I got to witness a great many changes. A military base turned into cruise port Bayonne with the great waterfront walkway. Massive apartment units with views of New York and Jersey City. A once garbage dump, now a world-class golf club with the grand public walkway where you're able to view many bird species in a natural environment. And we have South Cove Commons, which according to the city's plan, will now be home to 3 20-story tower buildings, which will consist of a hotel, shopping, banquet halls, and walkways, a walkway over Bayonne Inlet connecting to the other side. United Parcel Service built a warehouse and employs over 500 workers. Prologic's warehouse company, one of the largest in the world, building 3 warehouses on Exxon-contaminated land on Hook Road. And Studio 1888 on old contaminated Texaco oil property. In the middle of all this, you want to think about putting in a data center. You should be working on large regulations for data centers, not passing new use options. We've seen this before. Scrapyards built with no regulations, electric bikes with no regulations, Airbnb, no regulations. I know you guys do not control all these regulations, but we know how society operates, and they just put this stuff out there, then we're stuck with the big problems. Data centers, though, they do have rules and regulations. How about the one where council members have to sign a non-disclosure document to not let the public know how much water or electricity is used? Let me repeat that. Data centers, they have a regulation not to sign, that they have to sign, council members have to sign a non-disclosure document to not let the public know how much water or electricity is used. Not that you would sign it, but I'm saying city councils have been forced to do this. The company says, they say it's a company secret. The competition can't know. And this is how they get around this stuff. It's amazing. And when I read that, I was shocked. And these council people were forced into this by corporate America again. Also, I wonder if the other 2 self-storage buildings will follow suit. Better think twice about opening this can of worms This isn't just an ordinary fishing expedition. Thank you.
Mr. Nadrowski's not here. Diane Fresno?
Good evening. I'm Diane Fresno. I live at 848 Avenue C. As I came about the data center, all I can say right now is ditto. But what I do want to say is there is a lack of transparency in this town. We have no newspaper. We have no way of knowing what's going on. Nobody knows. It's all rumor. It's all rumor. I think it would behoove the Council of Bayonne, or whoever's in charge, to at least have a monthly town meeting where people can come and raise their questions of what's going on. Maybe the people running for office could tell us, what is your platform? Nobody knows what you're running for except a better Bayonne. Who knows what that means to you? It doesn't seem to mean the same thing to us. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Ms. Frezzo, I just wanted to say, this is the monthly meeting that the government has, but it doesn't mean we couldn't do some more community meetings, maybe. I don't know about on a monthly basis, but maybe quarterly or, every 6 months or something like that. So, okay, thank you.
Come to the council meetings. Everybody can come to the council meeting. Everybody, the council meeting is every month.
Okay, please, let's not yell from the seats. Ms. Medina?
People work and have to get home, get in their car, and come here.
Okay,
We
please.
have a council meeting that's at least at 6:30 at night, so that people can participate.
So I think this is probably a good time. So I hear all of your concerns, and what bothers me most is that I may not have the potential to assist in any way when this should come up as an issue. In all likelihood, I will not any longer be on this council. So I do think this is a good time for Director Skillender, who was one of the advisors that helped us in making our decision and who drafted the expanded use verbiage and brought it to us and presented it. So given the community's questions, Director, a couple of those questions, the things that were of significant note to me were, one, I first and foremost want to know if there would be a requirement for any council member, any sitting council member, any elected official, any municipal colleague or employee to sign a non-disclosure agreement with regards to anything related to...
And I would never sign that.
Exactly.
Never.
So that,
Agreed,
wait,
I would
so
never.
that's one. That's
So,
one.
well-
One. Two, what I was not aware, nor am I now, but I hear everyone's concerns, and this leads me to believe that it is a significant concern. What would be any detrimental effect to our residents' health? Most importantly, because that's located on my side of town. I could walk there. So one, because that was not anything that was presented to us. How would it negatively affect any pets in that same area as well as, so first and foremost in my mind are of course our residents and then our pets. The impact of noise and traffic and I recall conversations, many of them, in which I said, how would it negatively affect us? And I was told that it was increased air conditioning, wouldn't be a tremendous amount of traffic because not a tremendous amount of colleagues or employees that would be going back and forth to that data center. And then what effect on the pollution would it have? And how does that increase utility costs and resources for our residents? And again, I was told it would have no impact. And so now that, and again, these were not questions brought up to us at the time in December when we were making the decision to pass this, but they are questions that are posed to us now. So I do think that the residents deserve an answer, as well as us.
So let's just go question by question. So for the
Requirement to sign a non-disclosure agreement.
So for the first one on that, I am unaware of any New Jersey or federal statute, law, regulation that will require it. It
So
would
it's
also.
safe to say, if
it
any
will-
potential project, if any, all right, let's
Please,
maintain.
Please don't yell
So-
from the seats,
Right.
please.
So if any potential development was put in front of, or any potential use was put in front of any council, whether it be this council or another one that required non-disclosure agreement, that would be sufficient cause to deny it.
It would run afoul of the MLUL. For a site plan, the utility plan has to be provided.
Okay,
If
and that
you-
is something that we are free to release to the community, should anybody ask for
It
it.
is publicly displayed on the city's website when a site plan application, which in this matter has not been filed yet, but was always up there on the city's website and in the planning and zoning office.
Okay, and
As
is
required by law under the municipal land use law.
Is there an intended use that is put before us, either the Planning and Zoning Committee, or there's none in front of this council, but is there any intended use or a request for that location at this point in time?
Right now, there is no specific developer on this site for a data center. It allows the ability for the property owner, which had a redevelopment plan back in either 2018 or 2019.
And that would have been a redevelopment plan approved by the prior administration?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
So what was done with this, along with our consulting planners too, that reviewed this, that a one-line item of a data center would be added for this spot.
As a
Now,
potential use?
As a potential use. Still has to go through the normal requirements of having the council approve a redevelopment agreement, along with a financial agreement there, and still has to provide a site plan. That is at the site plan that you will see the actual plan for the building itself, of what will be put in, basically a warehouse, how much utilities, how much air conditioning it will require, how much employees, how much traffic generation it will generate. All that has to be there. For this one particular site, one of the reasons why the administration advanced this is the property owner, along with Bayonne Energy Center, said that they had an arrangement in place that the power would be provided directly from Bayonne Energy Center. Then provide a direct line from the power plant, which feeds only Brooklyn, not New Jersey, not Bayonne. We're in the works on fixing that to help with the energy costs. But directly to this site to provide power, so this wouldn't affect, the local residents on their energy bill. It would also allow the ability for us to provide a community benefit payment, because they would have to probably run through city roads and clean up contaminated roads that were a legacy issue on Constable Hook. So for this property that is behind two other warehouses, and the closest resident is over 1,000 feet on the opposite side of 440 in an industrial area. There were several concerns, there were several things that went into evaluating the proposal, given the fact that this would not be having PSE&G as the energy provider and directly from the power plant. There were one of those, big concerns were eliminated.
So there would be no negative effect with regards to utility costs to the local residents? Is that safe to say?
For the added use on this, for what we can see, I'd like to believe yes.
So
Well,
again, let's assume,
Without seeing the site plan on the specific usage
Okay.
of the utility plan.
so that was our assumption, and again, I'm gonna, one more time, let's maintain a forum. So again, should any potential use come before any council that's sitting at the time, if there were to be an increase in costs or a negative effect to utility costs for the residents surrounding residents, that would be a valid use to deny that usage.
That would be up to the council's decision, but yes.
Okay. So again,
And
I
that would
hope
be
that-
at the redevelopment agreement stage.
Okay, that's fine. What about potential impacts on health for residents as well as pets in the area?
every building and warehouse has to comply with the New Jersey DEP requirements on this. For, again, the uses on that, that's a state issue on that, but they have to comply with state mandated law.
Okay, and so again, any sitting council, it would behoove them to, prior to approving, if a usage should come before them, to ask for a study on potential impacts and whether or not there has been ongoing results that can evidence a negative impact to either residents or pets.
Why are we even going that far?
That's correct. Or that would,
Jackie, are you
again,
done?
no, I'm not
Oh,
done.
okay.
No. And that would, again, be a valid use, a valid reason for the council to deny it.
If the council so chooses in the redevelopment agreement, they can make that a condition.
Okay. And what about pollution?
Again, pollution on that, you can conduct a study on the carbon footprint on that. You could put that condition in the redevelopment agreement. However, given the fact on this one, it's provided for that the energy is going to come from a power plant here. I mean,
Okay. But again, all of these are valid reasons should that come up and we find there's a negative impact to the community, all valid reasons for any sitting council to then deny that usage.
so again, one of the other considerations, even with the prior council too, on adopting a redevelopment plan on this area, with the increase of self-storage facilities here, we've noticed that the occupancies, and we've heard the concerns of the 3 self-storage facilities that were built, especially within the last 5 years, that their occupancy rates are below sustainability. So we're going to have potentially 1 or 2 of them close if something is not done about redeveloping properties to make sure that, I don't want to say failing businesses, but struggling businesses, can redevelop. So given the fact of that for this specific site, which is behind 2 other warehouses in the middle of another warehouse that got redeveloped, they are looking for a use of there that would generate the same power that potentially a refrigerated warehouse would have. Same fans, same ability for it. I mean, these are all, again, have to be in the site plan on the utility.
They already discussing it, people.
Okay.
They already talking about that.
Okay, please,
Right.
please,
And-
do
and
not yell from
unfortunately,
the
that's
seats.
not- Again,
Yeah,
that's not
yeah.
information we would be privy to or be aware of, and so.
Well, because there's
but
no
we have-
information available yet.
Exactly.
This is a potential
So we have
use.
listed a number of reasons why any sitting council could deny that use. And so I think, again, one more time, there's nothing, I don't know what the council's ability is, and I'm being very honest with you. I don't know what the council's ability is to rescind a prior approval. I think that would negatively impact the city, because I think that might result in a potential lawsuit, because it is something that has already been approved. However, I think that, no, it was you, because you weren't here at the time.
Okay,
So-
all right, please,
Again, I'm going to
please,
go back.
please, please, everybody.
This is not, listen, this is
The
not. you're not
councilwoman
at a
has the
concert.
floor.
It is not, this is not an open forum where you can just shout out from your seat. Let's maintain our composure as a lady. I understand it might be difficult for some, but let's try.
Okay, all right. Jackie.
So, Director Skillinger,
Please.
I think that we have presented a number of ways that should something be put before any sitting council, and again, we're going to go back to that the available use was first approved by the prior administration. So if that should come up and these negative effects are found to be true, any council can request the studies, the reports, and the documentation so that they have the ability, and again, the community is allowed a forum to come and once again express their concerns at that time, and that is when that would happen, and that would give ground to any sitting council to deny the usage.
The public, again, can always comment on a redevelopment agreement being proposed in front of the council. There is a site plan hearing. There is multiple opportunities for the public to comment on the project.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank
So-
you, Director.
Right now, I would like to propose a resolution that this council, if it finds negative impact on the environment, that we will not approve a data center in Bayonne in the entirety. So I will put that up. There's no need to sign. We're talking about this in a public meeting. What more can I do for you?
Proposed a resolution.
I just proposed a resolution.
I would second a resolution stating that based on the information provided with the negative impact that has been stated, that this council, in its current form, not approve a data center.
Not approve a data center in the entirety of
entirety of the
Bayonne.
city.
The entirety.
And then we'll deal with the consequences later. They'll build the
Right, so I don't
right.
know, again, let's go back to Director Skillender. So,
So-
Director, as the advisor to the council.
Yes.
So I don't know that the council actually has, so I'd love for the council to put forth a resolution to do that, because now we are hearing the concerns of the residents, one we did not hear before.
And we
So
listen to what you have.
the council can do this resolution, just given the fact of the timing of this. There has been no site plan submitted. If
Right.
generally speaking, under the MLUL, there is a 45-day review period of the completeness of an application for then a planning board to be scheduled within 120 days
So-
of that deemed completion. So
Again, having a little bit of legal knowledge, not much, but a little bit, does the council have the ability to rescind the prior approval, or do we have the ability to once again amend the available usages? Because I think it would, again, as I said, it would behoove everyone to consider that. So is that ability within the purview here?
under the redevelopment law, that is, I don't know for this specific property if a redevelopment agreement is in place already, where generally speaking, as has been past city practice between this administration and prior administrations, there has to be the consent of the property owner to change an amendment to any zoning.
All right, so could we, and again, I'll ask council members, can we commit to doing the necessary research to amend the prior approval given to the expanded usages allowed for that location? And then, should the council wish to bar or whatever the case may be, restrict, thank you.
Right, there's more
restrict
towns that have
usage.
made ordinances saying that they will not have a data center in town. So if that gets rescinded, we'll make another ordinance that will eliminate the possibility of a data
Exactly.
center.
So at this point
Well,
in time, can we simply commit to doing the research
Yes, we
that would
can
allow
commit.
us to look into, once again, amending available usages for that location?
Yes, we can.
So does that need to be done via resolution?
Well, I would
or-
say, today, let's do the
Let's do
resolution,
both.
because everybody will know our
Okay.
intent. And then, when we get that research, by the next council meeting, we can move further with those other advances.
Okay, can we consider that a walk-on?
I'd like to interject real quick. First of all, I know emotions are high, and I would just like to say thank you for everyone coming out and voicing their opinion. Now, I cannot speak totally for my colleagues, but I will say this. I can honestly speak that we have the best interests for Bayonne and its residents. So with you coming out, and my colleagues stated before, I know there's some concern in terms of putting out the information and not having a newspaper and so forth and so on. But I'm sitting here right now, and I can honestly tell you, from my opinion, my naivety, not knowing, naivete, of not knowing the total responsibility of what happens with data centers. No. Let me hear me out, please. Okay, the fact of the matter is that I was under the impression that it was just part of adding on to a multi-use. Now that you've brought out all the concerns, now think about this, and as council, and I'll speak for me. I am not having a knee-jerk reaction, but I will say this, that I can change my opinion, and that's why you're here. You're sitting here voicing your opinion. We are not closed-minded and sitting here saying you're wrong. I can sit here as a council member saying you're right, and I appreciate you coming in here and sharing that information with you. I stated to you before in the document, I was doing my own research because I sure wasn't aware of all the things that are being happening with these data centers. Now that you've come in as residents and people living in town, my concern is what's best for you and this town. I'm not looking for political points. I'm not looking for anything other than the fact that I want to live here. I had the choice to leave also, and I'm still here. And I believe this council, okay, all the decisions that are made are not here under some dictatorship. What we're trying to do is what's best for the city and the residents of Bayonne, and I appreciate you coming here, giving me your feedback, and we're going to move forward with this. Thank you.
And it's proof that we do listen to our public when they come in. These are you are the people that we represent, and we do listen to you. So.
Well, we just did what you wanted,
Yeah.
so I don't know where you're coming from. What I would say, and as the youngest guy, some of the other council members might have been here when this happened years ago. There was a potential garbage barge and train that was going to run through the city. Some members in the audience probably lived through that. You all came and spoke at council meetings. You all did exactly what you're supposed to do. Action was taken, and is there a garbage barge today in the city? No. Okay. This is the process, and some of my comments were reiterated tonight from last week's meeting. The one that wasn't said tonight was, I asked everyone, please make sure you come next week and speak. And I'm glad they did, because this is what happens. You provide information, we digest that information, and can make decisions. And so I'm very willing and excited to move forward with this resolution that was put forward by the council president.
Madeline, you want to add that to where the resolutions are, or? Okay. Okay.
Not pass the construction of the data center. Sure. So on the proposed resolution, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Aye. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye. Congratulations. That was great. That was awesome. In the effort to get this moving, this meeting, to keep it moving, we're going to ask the people who signed up to speak, and then we have to go back to the city agenda. So I don't have time for other people to add on again, especially some of you have already spoken, want to speak again. Unfortunately, this meeting will go to 11 or midnight if we keep doing that. So I'm going to ask Ms. Medina to keep moving along.
The next speaker is Nicholas Maselli. He left? Okay. Omar Aguirre.
Yes, I'm a little under the weather, but I just wanted to make a statement. My intention was to speak about the data center. I think we spoke about it plenty, and I think the council has decided to hopefully, resolve that issue. I do want to clarify, what resolution are we passing, just for the record? Is it to ban any data centers?
Well, we would have to do that by an ordinance, and we need to do a little research first before we can do that. But, I'm sorry, she's the lawyer, so I'll let her speak.
The resolution is to do the legal work, the legal research, in order to determine if, as proposed by the council, we can undo the zoning.
Could you just stop the time? I might need it.
Okay, and also, we're saying that we're not in favor of data centers, and that we're not going to vote for anyone in the entire town of Bayonne. That's the resolution.
I know everyone on the council. As you know, I'm running for city council as well, second ward. I'm good friends with Jackie. She's an incredible woman. I'm actually, I have a good relationship with Jackie. And I do want you guys to know that you could ban data centers in Bayonne. I'm pretty sure. You might have to do a special council meeting for that, as you've done with the Board of Ed. There's been special council meetings. Correct me if I'm wrong, Gary, if you'd want to comment on that.
No, there's no need for a special one. It can be done at this meeting, it can be done at the next meeting. The reason I can't do it at this meeting is because we have to see if we can undo the use first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My concern is,
that's the reason.
yeah,
But we just gave you our pledge.
Of course.
That this council is not going to vote for the approval of any data center.
Yeah, my concern is that this council may not be here come June. Not to say anything, I'm like I said, I don't want to attack anyone. I'm not. That's not my intention. I just mean that it may not be the same 5 people up here. It may, Jackie's not running.
Well, then another council will have to undo what we do, because if I introduce it in May, I'll pass it in June before another council comes in.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
I'm
my
proposing
pledge to
that you
everybody
ban
here.
it with a special council meeting if you need to squeeze one in before the election. And I think that would look good on your part if you are going for re-election. Not to get political, but, if
We
you're.
have plenty of special meetings coming up. I have a budget. I have a whole bunch of other things that I'm dealing with here.
Yeah.
And the council's dealing with, not just myself. So we'll have opportunity. If we don't need the special meeting, we can do it in a regular meeting.
Exactly, yeah.
And
And
another thing is,
yeah.
the special meetings, a lot of people, you talk about transparency, well, at least there's a notice that goes out for the regular meeting. The special meetings, we give a notice also, but most people are so programmed into the Wednesday meeting that they don't show up or they don't come for the special meeting. So I'd rather have it at a regular meeting, because I think more people will understand and get the impact of that.
I hear you. I just think we need to resolve it before re-election, just so people know where everyone stands.
That's the plan.
And again, I don't want to, I have no, personal issues with anyone, and, I'm not even, I don't want that to be the case. And I know there's a lot of tension. It was a rough meeting. I mean, I might need to reconsider being up there, but. But,
I got the bruises to prove it.
Yeah.
We just found out the city's a corporation, not a government, so we can all go home.
I just want to jump in and just say the fact that, listen, that is a strong concern. This will not be the same council, okay, that's going to be here after June. So it would behoove us, all right, committing ourselves right now, if we're not here, that at least we did something positive for the community, and we can say that there will be, moving forward, no data centers, and the health of Bayonne is going to be okay.
Yeah,
Omar,
so-
you have to wrap up your comments.
Of course.
We never
No.
stop the clock for anybody.
I know. I
So,
appreciate
Ms.
that.
Medina,
Yeah, and I don't want to hold you guys. I know it's been a
we need
long
to
day.
wrap it up.
I just want to mention that, when I intended to run, and I don't want to get personal, I pledged not to take any money from developers or city vendors. And I did so because I know when you do take money from certain categories of people, you get influenced, And I made that pledge, and if you do want to look into, not anyone specific, if you want to check, I know a lot of people said things about people getting $1 million or, it's not the case. You got to look at the records. It's public record. It's New Jersey elect. You go look who gave what, if you do want to look, it's all public. It's nothing behind the scenes, So,
Omar, come on,
yeah,
get to your point,
I just
and
want to
let's
finish
wrap it
up. Yeah, I got time on the clock.
No, you don't have that much time. Wrap up your point. Come on.
All right. Well, thank you, guys.
Okay.
Just wanted to
All
say
right.
my point. Thank you. All right. I hope there's
Okay.
a special meeting. Thank you.
Okay.
Keith Gallant.
Keith Gallant, 25 East 23rd. Jackie, you and I have had some really difficult discussions. And we've always been able to come to some middle ground. I want to feel like there's still a hope to do that on this data center vote. Just in full transparency, because I'm sure it'll come up, I'm the guy who has been growing flowers in Bayonne. This is my 4th year. 3 of those years I did it without a city permit as a home occupation. I am sorry for torturing you with illegal tulips. I hope it did not
Could you
cause
speak
any
into the mic? We
undue
can't hear you.
harm.
We can't hear you.
Okay. I am permitted now. I'm legal. I'm legit. I agree with you, Jackie. Complacency. I am as guilty as anybody. That's why I have a 6-story building being built on my property line. You and I know that complacency is a huge problem. I am as guilty as the next person. We have a notification information problem, though, in this city, okay? And this is something that needs to be addressed. This is why people get so upset or feel like something's being pulled over on them. The Bergen record is not notification. It just isn't. It checks the legal box, for sure, and I can't even argue against that. It does, but it's not sufficient. As far as the data center, ignorance is not bliss on this one. You can't turn on the TV or open up your cell phone or look at a news station and not know what's going on across this country. So to claim that you all voted, all right, with a yes because you didn't know, I don't buy it. I just don't buy it. The other inherent problem, as two younger people pointed out, is voting in any manner to even consider a permitted use, all right, of data centers on any property in Bayonne. And I feel this in my gut it just feels like a gross violation of the public trust. That's how it feels. And that's why I think we're all so upset. Because when we do vote, we hand our trust over to elected officials. And then when this type of vote goes through, not just here at council, but also at the planning board, it feels, our visceral reaction, right, is like we've been violated in some way. That trust has been violated. And that's why I think the emotions are so strong on this issue. I'm glad that you've come to your senses. I really do believe that it is important that we really research how we can rescind the permitted use or amend the permitted use immediately and shut the door on this topic forever when it comes to the city of Bayonne. And as a side note, storage facilities, I mean, the city should not be changing permitted uses for properties because private businesses screwed up the free market, engaging what the consumer would want or didn't want and is not buying their storage units. That's not the reason to go and change a permitted use. That's capitalism. By the way, please, if you don't like the flowers I'm going to buy, that's called capitalism too, okay? I'm okay with it. I mean, well, I have the permit now. So, yes, the complacency is a problem. I myself want to see more people engaged in civic discourse. I think I can speak for some people. We are at a very meaningful tipping point in this city's history. Between the pilots, between this potential permitted use of data centers, things going on at the Board of Ed that people don't like, people are just on edge. And when you vote yes on things like this, people's coping skills are already tapped out. People don't have any capacity to deal and to cope well when these yes votes go through. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Galano.
So Keith, I'm going to read, you're not getting rid of me, there's always hope. I'll be at your door, I know where you are, and you have that permit, I'm going to point out, because of my urgency.
Yes, yes.
Because you provide a benefit to the community, one of which I take part in all the time. And I would never want to see you have to go away, right? And we're never going to do that. You stand for something that I truly believe in your own diverse culture and who you are as an individual, and I never want to see anyone have the ability to drive you away. So that's first and foremost. Second, I do wonder, so Keith is correct, and as many of you are, there is no longer a vehicle for our residents. Now, again, no fault of our own, but no longer a vehicle for our residents to obtain information locally. And I understand a cell phone. I mean, listen, the city cannot, the municipality cannot certainly go ahead and open up a newspaper, which is what our senior residents would like. They speak to me all the time about that. I'd love to have the ability to do that. What other way? There has to be other means of communicating information to the residents. Is there, right, besides, and I do realize that it's on the website.
A solution would be to
What is your recommendation?
I think we can certainly form a community task force and look at the potential ways that people receive information, whether it's reactive or proactive, whether it's there's certain kinds of information that certainly people can go take the initiative to go find for themselves, but then there's information that falls into the category.
Right, if you don't know that the issue is coming up,
Correct.
you don't know to go look for it.
But
So
we need
perhaps-
to examine those
All
things.
right, perhaps Director Kavanaugh,
Okay.
if you are the savior today, I might buy you dinner. So what do you have for us?
I would just say that people do need to keep updated on the city website. Check it every day, check it 5 times a day, like you do with your Facebook. I will also say, because the meetings are scheduled on there, come to the planning zoning meetings. Come to those meetings like you do come to a council meeting, so you can see what's going on before things are voted on. And then also, when you need information from me, Municipal Services, please pick up the phone and call, or the Health Department, or any other department. We're accessible. Come in and see us. We're accessible. We're right here if you have an issue. I do not take complaints off of Facebook. In the Health Department and Municipal Services, we need documented information. I need to know who it is, where it is, what the issue is. I want to hear your concerns. We want to hear, as directors, we want to hear your concerns, your complaints, and explain things or go through things. Maybe you're giving me information that I don't know about. I appreciate that. That's how I get most of my information, is when someone picks up the phone and calls me. Do not take anonymous complaints, because people have you all over the place, especially in silly season when, you know, people are trying to take you up your game and you're here and you're there. We need to have a goal-oriented, patient-centric vehicle to approach all of these issues. And that's how we get things done, right?
So Director Kavanaugh, I wonder, do residents have the ability to go in and register, enter name, address, email, telephone number, and we would just simply on any city sort of list, so that we could send out any so that we would then send them a notice that here's the upcoming issues on the council meeting, here's the upcoming zoning. It's a registry that residents would sign up for to be noticed.
In easy to read English, not legalese.
Right. Exact. No, and I don't disagree with you, because I oftentimes you'll hear me say lot and block ABC and 1, 2, 3 mean nothing to me. Tell me what the address is. Tell me where that is.
So that would be planning and zoning.
Planning and zoning would have-
And the redevelopment team, which Joe
All right.
Skillender can answer on that.
Okay. All right. Director Skillender.
And they have an
mind?
agenda for their meetings.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Thank you, Director.
I hope that was helpful.
Yeah, I've got one other thing, if I can just have 2 more minutes. Thank you. The lead paint program. This law was passed 3 years ago, and we have been 3 years of not coming into compliance, now with a threat of a fine from the state, because we have not met compliance to the state's requirements. And to me, the most common sense question is, well, for 3 years, why haven't we been able to do that? And it's the price. People have an issue with the cost of coming into compliance.
All right, let me save everybody a few minutes. So I was not aware of this letter. I was aware of the requirement quite some time ago, not aware of the communication that was going out.
Right.
Give me a little bit of time and let me look into it. I'll get back to you as well.
The point is this is indicative of a problem with program rollout. There is an inherent problem when you've got a program that needs to be rolled out into the community, and there's no clear communication plan of, okay, well, you know, how are we going to make this so informative, at least informative, so people don't think this letter is a scam, or what can we do? Somebody needs to be the program manager on that, or the communications manager, and say, this is what the communication should look like. This is how people are going to be able to understand it, okay?
I don't disagree with you, but again, and I want to be conscious of everyone's time, but
yes,
again, I can assure you that the mandate was presented to us quite some time ago. We were led to believe that we would do a service to the residents by allowing for a prearranged dollar amount and a negotiated rate to be offered to the community. That was the intent. I think I'm comfortable in saying everyone would agree with me. That was the intent of this council, that it would be a benefit and a help. Unaware, we are not responsible for the rollout. We don't take part in the decision-making.
I understand
We
that.
don't know how it happens. It is simply handed to us, and this is what is taking place.
I understand that you as a council member are not responsible, but we should have some sort of, when you've got a citywide program that has to be rolled out for residents to absorb or at least be informed about, their needs, the people that people are...
There does need to be a better way of that information getting to...
There's been a failure
And that's
point
where
here.
I
We have
think...
to look into it better.
Right.
Okay.
Director Skillender is here, he is. So I do think the idea of a registry where the community has the ability to register to obtain information on an ongoing basis, and then perhaps a mass email notification, even if it simply says, please check the city's website because something is being proposed in your area, or something of that nature.
Yeah.
Exactly. OEM has a registry. We'd like something similar to that. So Director Skillender, is that possible?
From the planning board and zoning board, all the exhibits are posted onto the website, the agenda's posted on the website there.
But we have elderly residents, disabled residents, residents that don't have access to a computer, all things of that nature. So if they have the ability to sign up for a registry.
This is why I think instead of trying to come up with a solution here, we should probably get a group together of, you know, people who can at least identify those different types of groups and say, well, how do we deal with this group then? And how do we deal with that group then?
So, Director,
We can look into it.
Okay,
We will want to make sure that we still, though, comply with the municipal land use law and the requirements from the state on that.
yeah, and we can certainly always comply with our requirements by the state, but this would be a courtesy provided to our residents that would allow for them several different means of obtaining information, especially for our residents. That we had a resident in here not too long ago who is blind. I mean, he doesn't have so you might send him a notice, but that means nothing because we're sure as hell not sending it in Braille. I think that if he received a phone call or if he received perhaps an email where there's an audio program where it would read it to him, anything of that nature. So let's commit to looking into the possibility of forming some sort of a registry that residents can sign up for. So obviously it would be your responsibility to sign up for this registry, but that would pass out information, even if it is simply the agenda is on the calendar, please log in to review it. Something of that nature. We do it for OEM, we do it for school closures, we do it, Lord knows, Tommy Cotter, whom I love with all my heart, tells you about snow removal. So there's something that we can do.
Recycle.
Right, exactly. Recycling, garbage is off today, it's on today. Whatever the case may be, there's obviously something that we can do.
Sure, we will look into it.
Thank you, Director Skillender.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jill Pastorino?
I think covered. I was just.
Okay.
Thank you, Jill.
Pat Desmond?
I got your message.
Hello, Pat Desmond, 131 West 4th Street. There's a few things I'd like to talk about, but quick. I'm not going to be here for 50 minutes. First of all, the council president sets the agenda, correct? And then the council president votes on it. The mayor doesn't have a vote.
So the mayor presents the agenda to us.
To the council president, but it's up to the council president to set the agenda and put it out here for everybody to see, right?
Yes.
So for 8 years of Mayor Davis's term, there was a council president who sat here and voted on 41 tax abatements, correct? And now every meeting she's up here complaining about tax abatements. That's just I just want the people to know what's going on here, because I'm sick of all the nonsense, all right? You need somebody that's going to stand up here and tell the truth.
I got you, I understand.
You know, you need someone to tell the truth, because this is getting me sick here. And a friend of mine, I don't want to, you know, I'm not trying to badmouth anybody, but this is nonsense. And then there's another person that's helping her who stands in these hallways every day campaigning. If she doesn't have work to do, get rid of her. Put her down the tide, put her down the base, shoveling shit against the tide. Get her out of here. You know, enough. What are you going to do on the 8th? Is she going to stand out here greeting people as they come in and tell them who to vote? You know, something needs to be done here. If they're not doing their job, there's no need to keep them. I don't want to hear that, oh, they're protected by civil service and this stuff. Fire them and let civil service go through civil service. Get rid of them. If they're not doing their job, get rid of them. And then, I brought this up before in the past, the telephone poles. These people are digging up all the corners that we just had put in. That cost, I don't know how much money to put the corners in for the wheelchair accessible and the carriage accessible, baby carriage accessible. They're putting telephone poles right in the middle of it. Who's paying attention to these clowns? You know, this is insane. I mean, you just put it in, they dig it up. And they're making, the holes are getting bigger and bigger. I don't know if you noticed. But it's ridiculous. And some of the holes, they ain't even filling in. So when you get out of your car, you're going to fall in a 3-foot hole. It's ridiculous. Makes the town look like shit.
And the poles are tall.
The poles are horrible. And the old poles are still sitting there. Nobody's taking them down. You know, they act like this is their town. They can do whatever they want. They don't live here. They don't give a shit what this town looks like. Somebody needs to step up to stand up to these people and get rid of them. Get them out of here. And don't tell me it can't be done. I used to be the inspector. I used to shut them down every day.
It can be done.
They can be shut down. If first you want to shut them down, they're setups. They have to have cement, not cones. You could shut them down just on that. All right? So they need to be shut down and get out of here.
So just to respond to that specific issue, we did have a meeting today to address exactly that. And the BA, Mary Jane Desmond, did run that meeting. Other directors, Tommy Cotter, myself, Mr. Skillender, were also in that meeting along with many other people. Those concerns were expressed. We will be having at least monthly meetings, if not before that, to collaborate on just that, how to better that
Yeah,
whole-
they think they could do whatever they want.
Well, they
If
can't,
Like they
so-
control the town or something.
Right,
enough.
but we are addressing it, so I just wanted to let you know that that's
Appreciate
being
that.
addressed.
I appreciate it. It's just ridiculous. I got a minute left. I told you to give yourself, to raise the salaries. You still don't listen, and look at the shit you got to deal with. I don't mean to curse, but, and it's sad that the little kid that was here had to see all this nonsense tonight. I mean, we could all disagree. I mean, I don't agree with 90% of the people, right? But you don't have to be brawling and stuff in front of a little kid like that. All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good luck.
Last one, Patrick Devaney.
Patrick Devaney, 37 East 36th Street. Tommy Cotter, thank you for everything you do, you and your team. First and foremost, I am big on health. I am big on wellness. All right, I do a lot of research. I'm a college graduate. I'm one of the most successful basketball coaches in the state of New Jersey and in the country. I believe teamwork makes the dream work, and I believe you all sitting there because of everybody behind me. So we have to make sure that we're doing the best for our town of Bayonne. All right, the number one thing that I'm here for is I used to stay in Violent. All right, I went to high school after my coach got fired from Marist, end of my sophomore year. I stayed in Violent. All right, I know a lot of people in Violent. I went to St. Augustine Prep, one of the most prestigious high schools in the state. All right, Violent does not want a data center there at all. All right, New York, they do not want a data center there at all. All right, we all have smartphones. All right, they call it a smartphone because the people that are not smart could use their phone to become smarter. All right, they're also called cell phones for a reason, and we all have billions of cells in our bodies. All right, and there's something called radiation. If you haven't got an MRI, they ask you if you have any hard metal in your body. Take your jewelry off. Most of us have been vaccinated. All right, there's heavy metals and aluminum in every single vaccine that there's made that they make. Right? Radiation mixed with aluminum, right? You know what that causes? That causes cell damage. That eats away at your good cells in your body. So if you look at people that have cancer, my mother had cancer, my dad had cancer, I lost both my grandmothers to cancer. So in college, in a creative writing class, I wrote a 15-page study on the effects of cancer and tobacco, and also radiation came up. All right, and if you look on your phone, there's a warning on it. And it tells you not to have your phone on your body. You know why? Because they did studies. Because it affects your cells. I have 3 sons, 8, 6, and 4. I will never give them a phone or an iPad. Now, we know nowadays everyone hands their kid an iPad so they can shut up. Right? That's not a way to raise our kids, number one. And number two, they're holding their iPad and they're looking down. As they're looking down, they're putting a lot of pressure on their spine and their neck. All right? It's called golf ball neck. Not only that, they're holding an iPad that is killing their good cells in their body. All right? And that's like, we talk about money and how much money stuff comes. Our bodies are worth billions of dollars. Matter of fact, I can't put a price tag on my body or on my life because, one, I don't know if we come back. I don't know if there's a return on life. I don't know if there's a reincarnation. But I know I'm here now, and I want to live as long as I can. I want my parents to live as long as they can. I want to be able to see my kids have kids, and hopefully their kids have kids. That's why I'm vegan and trying to do right by my life. But right now, we're in a moment of time where electronics and technology, it's taking over, right? And there's studies, but let's be realistic. Who funds the studies? If I'm the AI, if I'm the data center, right, I'm sure City Council is not going to fund the study. You know who's going to fund the study? Same people that, like Merck and Johnson & Johnson, that do the vaccines. They fund the study. And the scientists that they pay to fund the study, you think they're going to go against the people that funded them? They won't. You know why they won't? Because then they won't get another job. So if we do a study, right, the study is going to be done by the data center, and everything is going to look in their favor. But the people that care about our lives, they care about our well-being. Bayonne is a tight-knit community. There's a reason why everyone's here. I'm here for a reason. I gave up coaching basketball with my 7 and 8 and 9-year-olds to train them and work them and get them better to come here for this. All right? I'm here because people have to start standing up for our community. And it should be people over profits and people over politics. That's where we have to get to. All right? And it's health equals wealth. Money doesn't mean anything. Your health and longevity on this earth and quality of life is everything. And I think we have to take that into consideration big time. Because we have a lot of people here that have cancer cells, and guess what? 1 cancer cell doesn't kill you, 2 cancer cells don't kill you, 10 cancer cells don't kill you. But with radiation, you start getting more cancer cells, more, and then thousands of cancer cells, and that's when the body starts attacking itself. So we could do all the studies that we want, but each individual, I empower you to do your own research. Use your smartphone and become smart on this issue, because I would never vote on the issue without knowing the facts of it. Thank you.
Okay. Moving on. 09 is an ordinance for introduction. It's the bond ordinance providing for the Phase 2 of the lead service lead line replacement project in and by the City of Bayonne in the County of Hudson, New Jersey, appropriating $25 million therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $25 million bonds or notes of the city to finance the cost thereof. and a resolution fixing Wednesday, March 13th, and the Dorothy E. Harrington Council Chambers as a time and place for a public hearing and final passage. It's moved by the Council President. Mr. Perez, will you second?
Second.
On the introduction, Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer.
Do I understand properly, this is a refinance of an existing, is that correct, Director Skillender? Is this, you'd have to get up. That's my understanding. That's your, so it's a refinance of an existing bond that's already out there, so no additional costs to the city. Absolutely, I vote aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
09 is an ordinance of the City of Bayonne in the County of Hudson, New Jersey, creating a special improvement district for the peninsula at Bayonne Harbor, and a resolution moved by Councilmember Perez fixing Wednesday, May 13th, and the Dorothy E. Harrington Council Chambers as a time and place for a public hearing. Mr. Booker, will you second?
It's okay.
On the resolution, Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
011 is an ordinance of the City of Bayonne amending and supplementing the revised general ordinances, Chapter 7, Traffic, and a resolution fixing Wednesday, May 13th, and the Dorothy E. Harrington Council Chambers as a time and place for a public hearing and final passage. It's moved by Councilmember Perez. Mr. Booker, will you second?
Second.
On the resolution, Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
012, 13, and 14 have been withdrawn.
They need more work from the law department.
They all need more work.
Oh,
And
okay,
the
thank
mayor,
you.
the mayor actually pulled, he pulled the-
012.
He pulled 012, the mayor. So consent resolutions is a resolution moved by the council as a whole, ordering the following communications to be received and filed. It covers C1 through C41. And on the communications, Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
Officers' reports is also a resolution moved by the council as a whole, ordering the following officers' reports to be received and filed, and any resolutions incorporated within to be adopted. It covers OR1 through OR2. Any questions on the officers' reports? And on the officers' reports, Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
Consent resolutions is also a resolution moved by the council as a whole, and it's ordering the following resolutions to be adopted. It covers CR1 through CR15. On the consent resolutions, Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
You guys understand what they're doing.
R1 is authorizing and providing for the issuance and the sale of not to exceed $15,537,000 in bond anticipated notes and $4,800,000 special emergency notes of the City of Bayonne in the County of Hudson, New Jersey, to the Hudson County Improvement Authority, and determining various matters in connection therewith. And it's moved by Councilmember Perez. Mr. Booker, will you second?
Second.
On R1, Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
R2 is a resolution moved by the council president approving the agreed-upon modifications to the 63rd Street Stormwater Pump Station Improvement. It's construction oversight. It's seconded by Mr. Perez. On R2, Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
R3 is from the last meeting, and it's approving and authorizing the execution of the transfer of funds from the City Improvement Fund and authorizing the transfer of residual amounts not needed to pay, no longer needed to pay for administrative expenses to the city expense account for the ultimate transfer to the city for certain city expenses.
And so before we vote on that, I'd like to tell my colleague, Councilman Carroll, because I think as well as the entire council, so that was, as Madeline said, as the clerk said, that was brought over from last month's meeting, and it was funds that we questioned because I think perhaps the description was not as explanatory as it is this month. They were funds that were originally collected and earmarked for the Bayonne, the BLRA, which is no longer in existence. So without approving the transition or moving those funds over, they were sitting there dormant. And those are funds that the city is entitled to that we could certainly make better use of within the municipal budget. So just so everyone is aware that that was something we looked into, and I got the further information, additional information. So I apologize, Madeline, thank you.
No problem. Who'd like to move it?
I'll move it.
Second.
And on the resolution, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll. Aye. Mr. Perez. Aye. Ms. Weimer.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
R4 is a resolution moved by the council president authorizing the city to enter into an NJDOT and Federal Highways Administrative Cost Reimbursement Agreement and awarding a contract for the consulting services to Thailand Engineering for preliminary engineering and design for the pedestrian bridge over Route 440 for the amount of $749,997.26. Mr. Booker, will you second?
Second.
On R4, Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll. Aye. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
R5 is moved by Councilmember Booker, designating Neglia Engineering Associates, Beacon Planning and Consulting Services, LLC, and Clark Caton Hint, a professional corporation, as qualified planning consultants for a period of 1 year, commencing January 1st, 2026 through December 31st, 2026. Mr. La Palusa, will you second?
Second.
On the resolution, Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll. Aye. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
R6 is authorizing the mayor and city clerk to enter into an agreement with Neglia Engineering Associates for planning services in connection with developers and redevelopers for a period of 1 year commencing January 1st through December 31st for an amount not to exceed $100,000. Who'd like to move it?
So moved.
And second. And that is R6. Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
R7 is authorizing an agreement with Clark Caton Hints for planning services in connection with developers and redevelopers for a period of 1 year, commencing January 1st through December 31st, for an amount not to exceed $100,000. Would like to move it?
Move it.
Second.
And on R7, Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
R8 is authorizing the mayor and city clerk to enter into an agreement with Beacon Planning and Consulting Services for planning services in connection with developers and redevelopers for a period of 1 year, commencing January 1st, for an amount not to exceed $100,000. Like to move it?
So moved.
Second.
And on R8, Mr. Booker. Mr. Carroll. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
And before we go to the next one, I think it's probably important just to note for the community that those last several approvals where the consulting services were approved were all in formation of the engineering pool that we approved previously. So ultimately, having that pool would give us the ability to save the city on costs and expenses and timing, and have more than one firm on retainer. Is that correct, Director Skillender? Nod. Please don't drive yourself crazy.
In essence, yes, it's, sorry to correct, but it's not the engineering pool, but the planning pool.
Planning pool.
So the planning services, similar to the engineering services, have, they help, Ms. Mack and the planning board and zoning board prepare the reports. This is all funded by developer and redeveloper escrows.
Right.
So anyone that submits a site plan, redevelopment requests, all funded by the applicant.
Absolutely, okay. Thank you, Director. I just didn't want the community to get concerned about the multiple. It appeared that we were approving multiple firms for the same use.
Again, given the fact of we've had multiple firms in the past, we're continuing with that approach. They've also drafted in reality, they've drafted the redevelopment plan, so they should also be the ones preparing the planning report as they're most familiar with the file. We don't want to, recreate and, have the city pay for expenses on reviewing a plan that someone else did the work on, so.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
R9 is designating AM Realty Urban Renewal LLC as the redeveloper of the property located at 657-663 Broadway, which is identified as Block 158, lots 22, 23, and 24, as shown on the official tax map, and authorizing the execution of a redevelopment agreement. Who'd like to move it?
So moved.
Second. And on the resolution, Mr. Booker. Mr. Carroll. Mr. Perez. Ms. Weimer. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye. Madeline, before we move forward, for R4, I wanted to bring Ms. Mack up to explain a little bit about the process and the payment. And thank you. I know you waited a long time for this, and I asked you to stay, and
It's fine.
so we really appreciate all your
No, that's fine.
your time here as well.
No, I had a very good meeting this morning with Chris Calori, who's the Executive Director of New Jersey Transit and also the head of the Turnpike Authority, and he complimented that he had met with the mayor, and I just ran into the mayor in the hall, so they're getting together next Thursday again on traffic issues. I believe it's probably on the Turnpike, but...
We need to talk a lot to him about the Turnpike
Yeah.
and the bridge.
No, so it's a good day to talk about transportation. Are you talking about R4, the pedestrian bridge?
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
yeah,
If you could please expand
Yeah,
on that.
you passed it, and I was saying, you didn't have a question.
It's my fault.
No, that's fine. There's a lot of things happening in the Motby area, so a lot of good stuff. As you know, the ferry terminal bid for upland improvements was, you discussed that a little bit last month. A lot of other things, good things happening. But the pedestrian bridge, and I don't want to belabor this, this was a very long meeting for that poor little boy, but he's learning civics. But as I said a few months ago, and it sounds really weird, but that pedestrian bridge that this council is now building was in the Hudson Bergen Light Rail first phase. It was supposed to be built as part of the Hudson Bergen Light Rail. And as you know, Motby was taken over by the Base Reuse Commission in 1999, and so was the light rail's first phase at the same time, and there was nothing at Motby to build the bridge to. So those plans were scrapped and put on a shelf, and actually we tried to pull them out of the files and get it built, and we found out they were so old that we had to start the process all over. And if you think about this again, we are building, first of all, we have a federal base, which was 620 acres of Pentagon property, which this council has really seen be developed there, because it started, but then it had a lot of fits and starts, and it went nowhere for many years because of the downturn. And you've really been able to push, you've pushed to the fact that you're going to have a ferry, you're going to have a pedestrian bridge, you're going to have a traffic signal, and you're going to have development down there, and you have union jobs, you have the warehouses now, you have multi-uses, and a lot of it took an awfully long time, but it seems like it's coming together. And so this pedestrian bridge is part of a federal processes, none of which we control. It's controlled by the North Jersey Transportation Planning Authority, who receives the money from the federal government and then distributes it to 21 counties in New Jersey, and they have to take care of all that stuff. They have to do something called the SIP, the State Implementation Plan, that looks at air quality, the TIP, Transportation Improvement Program, and the director of that was at the meeting I was at today, too. He was down there, very nice guy, Dave Bernard. But it's a very long process, but I look at this again, and the phase that we're going into now, we're building a bridge that connects to a facility we don't own, New Jersey Transit, and we're putting it over a state highway that we don't own to have it land at Motby. So it's incredibly complicated, and I think somebody was talking about before about the utility issues of public service. The cost and the complications of moving the utility poles on a state highway that are up in the air about 200 feet, and you can't put your bridge over them because that's not a good thing. I mean, it's just an incredibly complicated process. taken a long time, but we're in the home stretch. Pete Amadeo's not here, but he'd have some good acronym on it. So I thank you for sticking with it. It's been an incredibly long process, and one of the reasons we were able to apply for it is because it was part of Liberty Corridor and intermodalism. So you're going to have a pedestrian, you have a light rail, you have 2 light rail stops, you have a pedestrian bridge, you have a ferry, you have a Royal Caribbean cruise terminal, you have jobs, you have people living down there, and
And a great walkway as well.
oh, the walkway, yes, the walkway. People were asking about the walkway too, and I think Mike mentioned the walkway going over there. So it's taken a long time, too long a time, but you should all be very proud because it's part of your legacy of this council.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Mack. That was great, thank you.
And the kayak launch.
Yeah. Okay, Ms. Medina, the
Okay, we have
add-ons?
several add-ons.
Yes.
So the first one is authorizing the mayor and city clerk to apply for a fiscal year 2026 United States Department of Transportation Hazardous Material Emergency Preparedness Subaward Grant Program in the amount of $25,800 for the fire department training. And on add one, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll. Aye. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Aye. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
Add two is accepting the fiscal year 2026 Community Development Block Grant allocation in the amount of $1,422,664.
Second.
On that one, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll. Aye. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Aye. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
Add four is from the Honorable Robert Kubert, Mayor, fixing the salary range for the title of the Code Enforcement Trainee.
So moved.
On that one, Mr. Booker.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Aye. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
Add four, at some point, I don't know when they're not on your agenda, is authorizing and directing the planning board of the city of Bayonne to reopen and consider amendments to the redevelopment plan 469-73 LaFonte Way, which is identified as Block 412, Lots 3, City of Bayonne, Hudson, New Jersey link, public hearing, planning board, December 13th. This makes no sense. Okay, I'm going to stop there because it's not making any sense. Let Mr. Skillender.
Council on this, as of this morning, we received a phone call from the Department of Community Affairs. We have some very great news that Paramount Studios is looking to take the old Seahorse warehouse, and which is now Link Logistics, and put their first film studio here. They beat 1888 there. Paramount is still going there, but they're going to put they're going to create a couple stages for it. They are looking to do an expedited review at the DCA level of the building permits. So this is, state's basically taking control of this. From that, they're going to review the building department plans, and they are looking to have Paramount in town by July 1st. So it's a quick turnaround. Yes. Very aggressive. With that said, just so that there's no inconsistency with it, I think it's also valuable too that a film studio be an added use for a warehouse that has been built, has been, while newly constructed, and sitting vacant for over a year at this point, that, basically we conform with the state and allow a film studio to be, there from a zoning perspective.
So you're adding the use of a film studio?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
And let's just for the record,
That there's no data center.
any potential
Right.
negative impact on the community. I don't think that the addition of a film studio would have any increased traffic than a warehouse, which would have potentially hundreds of employees, and trucks going and coming. So let's just,
Let's put it this way, this is happening regardless whether or not we're doing this, we're just conforming with the state.
then we're conforming with state. But again, let's just, so again, negative input potential, no increased pollution, no health hazard, no.
Building's already built, so.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, okay, So everybody comfortable?
We'll move it as a whole?
Sure.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director.
So on Ed 4, Mr. Booker. Mr. Carroll. Mr. Perez. Ms. Weimer. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
Ed 5 is an ordinance for introduction, and it is amending and supplementing the general ordinances of the City of Bayonne, Chapter 7, Traffic, and is creating a loading zone at Church Lane.
I want to expand on this a little bit because this is something, it's certainly located within my ward. It's something that I asked for to avoid any potential negative impacts on that community there. That's 23rd Street. It's a very short block. Church Lane, again, very short block. There, a building has been approved, a very, very nice building has been approved there, but my concern was for move-in, move-out, and deliveries. That is a residential area with a school in the immediate vicinity right around the block. I didn't want double parking. I didn't want potential children running across the block in front of a large delivery truck or Amazon blocking traffic. It is 23rd is a down block going from west to east. And so I asked for a designated loading zone, move in, move out, deliveries, things of that nature on Church Lane, which is already being utilized as that type of a use for the businesses that are on Broadway, because the back of those businesses are open up to Church Lane. So Pizza Masters, Liz's venue, maybe a number of different
physical
businesses.
therapist.
Exactly, physical therapists. So I just didn't want that to impact the community and the residents on 23rd Street. And so I specifically asked for this. It was made part of the redevelopment plan initially. We pushed it back so that our traffic concerns could be addressed. That did happen. The chief of police, as well as Lieutenant Conti, did weigh in and say that that was certainly a viable option, and quite honestly, in working with the developer, the only viable option. Because we are already, as Mr. Gallant pointed out, we are already at the property line at his property. I certainly didn't want those residents to be inconvenienced any further. So the developer did agree to make that modification. And then we did have traffic go ahead and look into it and weigh in, which is why it's being put back on the agenda.
Right.
I'm just curious.
Sure.
So it's not a physical change, it's removing parking meters?
It's
on the
actually,
existing?
no meter, no, what it's doing is requiring the developer to mandate that any potential, that they have that designated zone so that they're not inconveniencing the residents in that area.
It's not on their property, it's on the street.
It would otherwise be a spot that would be taken away. So we're requiring that be designated solely for loading.
I mean, I defend your wanting to do this, because I know you've done it in the past with certain buildings, but
Yep.
it seemed that those were placed onto their property. I'm just concerned about doing this, because then every building's going to want a loading zone on the public street. So
I think every building has a required loading. I don't mean to point at you,
It's,
Mr. Maselli, or Director
while it's
Killender.
not preferred, we're putting it in the redevelopment plan that they will make best efforts to have this all in the building.
Right.
The loading zone, given the fact of the toughness of this redevelopment site, this is one of those exceptions.
Given the challenges that are there,
because the structure may be not suited for the area.
well,
In a
the-
high residential zone, yes.
Exactly. The uniqueness of that location
seems-
can't accommodate it internally with the additional parking for residents that we ask for, because again, we don't offer those residents permit parking on the street.
Neighborhood, so they can park there freely?
No,
Because there
they
is no
can't.
permit.
No, it's a
loading zone.
No, it's a
It's
loading
only
zone.
for-
Currently a loading zone.
But it's only going to be for loading.
It's
and
only
unloading.
going to be for
It's not
loading and unloading and deliveries.
It's not for
It's
residential
It's not
I'm
part,
trying to
yeah.
envision it in my head. So if you're behind Pompeii,
Yeah, if you're behind
park on the
Pompeii,
right side of the street.
a Amazon delivery truck can park in that loading zone deliver the
And
packages to
that's
the building.
Pompeii. So this is right next to the St. Michael's Church location.
Right.
On Church Lane.
Which also has parking. Like, I've parked there and gone to events at the chili cook-off and so on
No,
and so forth.
that's a municipal lot. That's not.
No, on the street. You're talking
Right,
about
which
that
also has
side
parking.
street.
Yes, that's correct. I'm sorry. Yeah, on one side only.
So that would be.
One side only.
Right.
All of the other, there's an existing loading zone there adjacent to it. Exactly.
Okay, so these guys would be able to use the existing loading zone that doesn't take away parking from, if I'm facing the church, the parking's on the right-hand side.
The church side,
So
right? The church?
On that lane, north and south, the parking's on the right side and the loading's on the left.
On the north.
Where there is currently no parking for regular citizens. Is that right?
I don't know that that's accurate.
I don't know the current situation. The one proposed right now, we're looking at 3 on-street parking sites there, then the loading zone.
Would take up.
Yeah.
And that's what I believe. But again, that municipal lot that's right adjacent to it is absolutely underutilized. And that is
And
not,
the-
so anyone parking on the street could then go park in that municipal lot.
The other thing, just also with this property too, especially on Church Lane, remember there's 2 exits and entrances. There's a
That's right.
small cul-de-sac.
Which again, we
Yeah.
asked for because of safety of the residents.
Well, no,
That's
no,
my-
that currently exists because of the community center there. So
Right.
we're just going back to
Oh, so it's not necessary, so how many spaces?
where we'd probably be gaining actually those widths, because it's going to be one in,
One,
out.
exactly,
instead of
one
2.
in, out, and that's it. So how many spaces would we actually gain? So it doesn't negatively impact the park.
Right now, I don't know what's currently there on it. All I'm just looking at the survey, and it says there are 3 spots, 23 feet in length, and then the loading zone at 60 feet.
Oh, so it would, so it's no negative impact.
It's basically what's ever there right now, yeah.
Exactly. I don't know if that helps you, Neil, but you're,
So move.
And on the ordinance for introduction, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll.
This is to be reviewed again next month?
Yes. Okay.
Aye.
Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Aye. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
At 6 is ratifying the emergency recycling disposal site recycling services and authorizing payment with the CFO's certification. That is with Sims Municipal Recycling.
so moved.
And on the resolution, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll. Aye. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
At 7 is a resolution correcting a scrivener's error in the ordinance number 026-27 and resolution number 25-12-17-102 and R26 adopted February 16, 2022, February 18, 2022.
So council, on this one, we put LLC at the end of the name. It's a corporation.
Would like to move it.
Second.
On the resolution, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll. Aye. Mr. Perez. Aye. Ms. Weimer. Aye. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
At 8 is amending Resolution 2602-18-102 with Campbell Supplies to increase the amount by $48,000 to cover the invoices and purchases through calendar year 2026. Let me see if I get that. I think the amount that was put on the resolution was incorrect. But let me pull it up.
So what's the correct amount?
I didn't get the resolution till late. So, come on, open up. All right. It was listed, the amount was, it was increasing the contract by $48,000, but in the paragraph, it was listed as $100,000, but the true amount is actually only $98,000. Somewhat.
So moved.
In a second.
Second.
And on that resolution, Mr. Booker. Mr. Carroll. Mr. Perez. Ms. Weimer. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
Add 9 is also amending a resolution with Campbell. Let's get that one. I just love reading off my cell phone. It's amending Resolution 2602-18103, and this was increasing the contract by an additional $4,072 for the calendar year 2025. But the paragraph listed the amount as $30,000, and the actual amount should be $35,000.
It's just correcting the
It's
number?
just correcting the amount.
Okay, I'll second it.
On that resolution, Mr. Booker. Mr. Carroll. Mr. Perez. Ms. Weimer. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
I have nothing further.
The resolution
resolution
that we were
for-
going to put forth, that we are, that we will not, we will commit to do the, well,
To amend the
Yeah.
previously passed.
so then we need to do two resolutions then, right. We're committing to not allow a data center, we will not vote in favor of a data center in the entirety of Bayonne. That's one.
So is that verbiage that we will not, that the city in and of itself will not allow for a data center within,
In Bayonne.
in Bayonne, so not
Right.
necessarily
So
this
that's
council,
our
but any
pledge
council.
tonight. And
Exactly.
If we get and then the second part, we'll do a second resolution saying we're going to look for whether that could be, the use could be rescinded, and whether we can make an ordinance banning it in the town. completely.
Entirely, exactly,
Right.
that's what I was looking
Because
for.
an ordinance is binding, whereas a resolution is our intent, but not necessarily binding.
I see. So it basically is amending the prior approval, or the
Yes.
prior expansion?
Yes.
Okay.
So on your first resolution, Mr. Booker. Mr. Carroll.
Why don't we do that as a whole?
Yes.
I figured that.
Yeah,
Thank you, Madeline.
both of them, sure.
Mr. Carroll. Mr. Perez. Ms. Weimer. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
And on the resolution looking to rescind the use as a whole also, Mr. Booker. Mr. Carroll. Mr. Perez. Ms. Weimer. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
With nothing else, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Have a happy Earth Day, everybody. See you next month.
And on the motion to adjourn, Mr. Booker. Mr. Carroll. Mr. Perez. Ms. Weimer.
Ms. Weimer?
Come on, we want to go home.
Jackie, she called your name.
Motion to adjourn.
Oh, I apologize. Aye.
Mr.
Sorry,
La
Madeline,
Palusa.
I'm stepping you above.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye. Have a good evening, everybody.